Hello again. Oh, that worked out well, didn't it then? Do we do the whole intro thing all over again then now? Do we have to do the, hello, I think I've made mistakes, blah, 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 blah. Welcome on in. So I apologise for that. It appears that the very, very technical solution of pulling out my wireless adapter and then plugging it back in was all that was needed. Nice and simple solution, thankfully, because if there's anything more complicated than that, I probably wouldn't have been able to solve it. So I'm quite happy. So we're back. We'll see how it holds out. It seems to be steady at the moment. YouTube, I did notice that when we were trying to link up to you, it's taken. There's quite a larger delay between Twitch and YouTube than there normally is though right now. So if you're comfortable coming over to Twitch, I might recommend heading over to twitch.com/MustermannFM for potentially a slightly smoother experience. So we would have gone for a break around now, so let's head on into a minigame. Johnny Trotter has very, very kindly redeemed one as well. So let's head into that, and then we can catch up on where we were in the game before then. So we'll start off with a round of Guess the Player. For those not familiar with Guess the Player, the rules are pretty straightforward. You're going to see 4 pictures of players, one after the other. 4 pictures from a player's profile in FM24, one after another. You're going to see the positions they play in. You're going to see the attributes and traits. You're going to see the scout report. Scout report, that's the word I was looking for. And then you're going to see their career history as well. Your job is to guess who the player is. Oh no, someone said, oh no, what's happening? Oh, it's a comment about DeMarco. Okay, that's fine. I thought the stream had gone down again. I panicked a little bit there. Yep, your job is just to guess the player. The earlier you guess, the more points you get. The more points you get, the higher you end up on that lovely little scoreboard down there. So why don't we head on into it? Now, I've seen the highlighted message from ACAB. And I saw the question from Quadmo earlier as well. What's my favourite cheese? It's difficult for me to say because, like, there's a cheese. I feel like there's cheeses for different occasions, right? So, like, sometimes I'm very, very particular to a brie. I'm quite happy with a very, very boring cheddar as well. A nice, strong, mature cheddar. I'm very partial to a Croton de Chavanel. But that shit is far too expensive, so that's like a once a year kind of cheese experience. But yeah, I tend to prefer the harder cheeses, with the exception of brie. So we do have some guesses coming in right now. Somebody's gone for DeMarco. Now DeMarco isn't too late because it's an entirely different game. We could still potentially have DeMarco, but this time it's a right wing back. So the guesses coming in are for Vital Borkelmans, Reinders, Danny Alves, Porro, Wilfred Singo, Trent, Hakimi, Serginho Dest, and Coyote. All absolutely fine guesses. The more important comment, though, comes from Johnny, who says that cheese is good for most occasions. It is indeed. Let's move on to the next one, see if that helps people in any way at all. So you've gone for DeMarco, but right-footed. Did you win? Close. Very, very close. They often call this person the right-sided DeMarco. I don't think they've ever called him the right-sided DeMarco. So some other good guesses coming in now. We've got Reece James, we've got Hector Bellerin, we've got Aaron Hickey, Denzel Dumfries, we've got Cafu. All very, very fine guesses. Could it be Di Lorenzo? Is Di Lorenzo the right-footed DeMarco? I mean, both begin with D. I know that one DeMarco is just one name, whereas Di Lorenzo has a space in it. It's not him anyway, so that doesn't matter. Could it be Achraf Hakimi? It couldn't be Achraf Hakimi, unfortunately. This guy is quick, he's agile, he's not too bad at tackling, decent dribbling, slightly worse off in terms of crossing. But let's head on over and see if the league helps at all. So more guesses coming in. We have a guess for Raul Bellanova, a quality player. Love a little bit of Bellanova. Could it be a right-footed Theo Hernandez? I don't think we'd ever describe this player as a being even on a par with Theo Hernandez, bless him. Could it be Gusetto? Could it be Malo Gusto? Could it be Carl Walker? We've got another guest coming in. I think we had a Mazraoui earlier, didn't we? We didn't have a Mazraoui early. It's not Mazraoui, I'm afraid. It's not Ridley Baku. Could it be Ben White or Dallo or Joe Gomez? Got a guest coming in for Pedro Porro as well. We might have you guys defeated. We haven't got a correct guess yet, I'm afraid. So it's not those Tarek Lamptey, Nico Williams, Montiel, Ashley Young. Is it the Ipswich right back? I don't even know who the Ipswich right back is. Seamus Coleman has never been that quick, Rodmo. I think as soon as we move on to the next one, it's going to be a case of fastest fingers first. So, who's the player? It's not Nathan Patterson either, I'm afraid. Livramento is a very fine guess from 2991 Matt. Unfortunately, it's not. Trent, far more talented than this player, unfortunately. The one everyone got for FPL, did they now? That's why I'm doing so bad at FPL, clearly. So Crodmo tried to preempt that we were going to reveal Lee Dixon. It wasn't Lee Dixon, and everyone has now got it correct. We've got Semedo, Digne Semedo. And the first person to get there was Ladislav Almasifan. Always quick on those fingers. Now, what that means, that's not for me to say, but that is indeed the correct answer. It is, of course, Nelson Semedo. Fabulous work, guys. Now, Ladislav Almasifan, lovely to see you in, by the way. I had to drop out of Munu stream earlier as I was setting up for today. But let's pop over to the stream main there. So she was just in the process of signing Ladislav Almasi for her Canberra side in her save. So I reckon it's a very, very good idea that when she's next streaming, she streams Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 3 p.m. GMT, 4 p.m. Central European time. Might be a good stream to head on into. I was very much thinking of you as he came up on her search list. So Campurinas claims that's being punished for having a slower connection. I demand a recount. Well, Campurinas, unfortunately, any recount that happens is going to show that you weren't just behind Ladislav Almasifan, but potentially behind Levi and Crodmo as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, my dude. Right. So as we had the issues a little moment ago, I had a choice to make, which was obviously I haven't saved in between games, right? So I could have either just quit the game there and restarted the computer, and that meant that we'd be playing the TPS game again. Or I could use instant result and finish off the basically I made my substitutions around the 50th minute, used instant result, and then closed down the game. So we got a 3-2 win in the end for KTP. Now I'm not 100% certain what point the stream dropped down, but we had just gone 2-0 up at that point. So since we instant resulted, they pulled one back. Onis Satari, one of the substitutions we brought on, scored on his debut, and they scored a late second as well. So it looks like we've missed an exciting game there. Let's hope that the rest of these games can provide at least 5 goals. The pressure is on now. So there we go. Did we sign any good players? Asked Ladislav Almasifan. So I think we've signed some very good players. We have signed, so permanently, we've signed this gentleman that we looked at yesterday, called Lagwe Bayerengero. Lagwe Bayerengero was on loan at FC Haka last season, scoring 7 goals in 11 starts, 6 substitute appearances, so pretty decent. And he's kind of, one of the reasons why we picked up on him was because he had a 51% header win rate. So he was scoring goals, he was dribbly, he was able to win his aerial duels, can kind of do a little bit of everything. And that's what we can kind of see with his attributes here: decent pace, decent jumping, decent finishing and off the ball. So he's a player that we're looking to retrain as an attacking midfielder, to play in that shadow striker role, but could also play as a poacher up front, possibly play as a target forward. Gives us quite a bit of flexibility. Now look, Marno, Pants reckons we would have lost that if we did an instant result, I reckon. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Now we could go back and replay play that game and the TPS game. But then what happens if we win the TPS game? That feels cheap. That's the problem. We've also bought in, for the same role, Antonio Jakub. He was signed from from Gefle even, in Sweden. So in the second division in Sweden, which is probably around the same level of us there. He scored 22 goals in the last couple of seasons as an attacking midfielder, so should be immediately able to slot into that role. He's again quite similar to Bayer and Giro. Good pace, can jump, good balance, dribbling, off the ball, finishing. Perhaps a slightly more all-rounded player, to be honest. So that I think both of them should be good signings. We've got Besirovic to come into the rotation on the wing. He's a dribbly boy. He's a dribbly. That's basically what he is. He comes in, he dribbles. That's all that we want him to do, which should be good for us. We've got Onis Tari, was mentioned in one of our earlier seasons. He's a backup target forwards. So he had a bit of a down season last year when Oulu got relegated, but pretty solid the year before, 10 goals in 29 games. Should be okay as a backup, whilst we look to hopefully get Slaymar out on loan for a first team start. Supreme Kwan says, were you streaming earlier? I was indeed, and then the internet dropped out, so I had to restart. Welcome on in, my dude. Welcome on in. So yeah, I think that gives us some options. Yeah, Slaymar, we've agreed to sell if we receive a bid of $1 million. Realistically, we will sell if we get about $500,000 and a good sell-on fee added on to that. Currently, only Sporting are interested in signing him permanently. Ajax did bid earlier, but they pulled out when we asked for about 800,000. But either way, we're going to look to loan him out. If there isn't someone coming in permanently, we're going to look to loan him out so he can start some games, because he's not going to be starting ahead of Lundberg, I'm afraid. Also, we brought in Abu Bawa as a defensive midfielder. He's kind of like, it's difficult to explain without the pizza charts, but last season he was kind of like up here for possession one, had around 80% tackle win rate, this kind of thing for his possession lost and progressive passes. So he should be a nice solid option to be the more defensive midfielder there. And we brought in Atli Mane. Atli Mane is a jumpy boy. He's tall, he can win headers, he's got a reasonable amount of pace, he can pass. He's going to be cover for Cometio and for Enquist. And statistics.
You tell me, how do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Bless you very much, Arpelusa. Very, very much appreciated. Subscribe with Prime. You only get one of them a month. I very, very much appreciate it. Welcome in. Hello, awesome stream. Thank you very much, especially after we've dropped out already once today because of internet problems. So lovely. Really, really appreciate it, my dude. How are you? It's not the spaghetti. It's not the spaghetti. That definitely isn't. It's not about the needles. Balance. Just the word balance. That's a good shout there. So yeah, we've made quite a few changes. What I didn't tell people earlier, what I didn't tell you earlier, was that one of the reasons why I decided to spend some money was because we got quite a lot of money for Albin Skoglund. So we said at the end of last season we were going to sell Albin Skoglund because he threw his prams out of his toys because he wasn't playing enough. I thought that maybe we'd get about £100,000 from him if we were lucky. And Sondal came in straight away with 350k. 350k was rather sweet. So Skoglund was gone quicker than anyone at all. Incredible stuff. We were looking at a guy as well called Lik Ivanovic. Now he was one of our first choices to bring in, and much like previously with the other players we looked at, we'd agreed a contract with him. We'd agreed a contract around £975 per week. We met his minimum fee release clause of £275,000, and he chose to stay at Lahti instead and got a new contract there. So was a bit of a shame, but evidently if he doesn't want to be here, we've now got these other guys. We should be absolutely fine, I reckon. So fun fact, the statistics quote was when Messi scored his 91st goal in a calendar year. That is a good fact. That is a good fact. Was Barca using a corner exploit? Could you imagine Leo Messi scoring from the corners? That would be incredible. I should once again talk about another thing that happened during pre-season. So Arttu Heinonen is here because we did agree a bid to sign Arttu Heinonen as well. Because wouldn't it be cool to have R2D2? He would have cost us £125,000. He would have been slightly lower, about £825 per week. But when it came down to it, Like, Yakub was just a better deal overall. He had better output. He's costing us a little bit more per week, but a much lower asking price. And I feel kind of bad for that, because look at that mullet and moustache. What a combination! What a combination! So Skoglund was so mad he threw his pram out of his toys. Indeed, exactly. What is Lukmar No Pants testing? He's tested something. Then he said her. Right, so Campiorinis called Ivanovic a traitor, and then realised actually it is the exact opposite of a traitor. An exact opposite indeed. But the mullet, I know, but the mullet. Like, if we could have got Heinen at a lower deal, I think I would have gone for Heinen if we could have gone along, if we could have been patient for it. But we'd already started the bid for Jakub. I thought Jakub was going to go to another Swedish club. There were bids from other teams. We'd bullied him down. He wanted about £1,300 a week. We'd bullied him down to under £1,000. So I was expecting him to turn around and reject us for not offering him as much as he wanted. Somehow he didn't. So there we go. So calling him a loyalist. I mean, yes, that has some implications now, doesn't it? Down with this sort of thing. Indeed. Right, so our next game is against Ekenäs. Ekenäs have released. So there used to be a player for them playing in midfield, Stanislav Efimov. He's now 33. They released him over the winter. So I'm quite glad to see him gone. I don't think he's good enough to be for us. Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to worry about him in the next game, or any games with Ekenäs coming up. Now, again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the last few times we've played Ekenäs, we've like prevented them from having any shots at all. So we should be in a pretty decent spot with them. At least that's the hope, that's the theory. We'll see what actually happens in practice, right? So that would be an ecumenical matter. Ecumenical. Got me doubting myself now. You know what I mean anyway. So Campione says Paphos just scored a second against AEL, so that means they are just one win out of their last 6 since they fired Chris Coleman. Maybe someone who can call out the what inside the club football wasn't the issue. Well, I mean, that might not be the issue. But I don't know. I mean, like, you don't want to put all your eggs in the Chris Coleman basket. Surely he's not the answer. Like, it's perfectly reasonable to get rid of him. Is my feeling on the matter anyway. Right, so into the next game. Jakub is back from international duty with Syria. So he has Finnish nationality as well as Swedish nationality, but also Syrian. So he plays for Syria. He's going to come in to start there. Otherwise, we are unchanged, I think, and we should be good to head into that. It is ecumenical. Okay. We're on a wavelength. It's like we finish each other's. Please say something funny here, Crogmo. You're being set up. You're being set up perfectly. Sandwiches would have been the word, indeed. But he's not doing it. He's not doing it. Disappointing. Anyway, here we are. It's white and green versus green and white, and in this particular circumstance, we are white and green. Let's hope for a nice, good start here. Maybe. So Cometio out to Bauer. Plays it into Dahlstrom. Dahlstrom tries to find Lundberg. It's cut out initially, but he's able to get there. Enquist not willing to run at his man, which is fine. That's all. We don't want him to dribble, really, to be honest. We just want him to get out into wide areas and swing the ball in. Early going. Nothing much happening here. We do have a chance for Ekenäs. Castro sends it across to Piazzalo into Ramini. He makes some space. Shoots just wide. Snore didn't even need to dive for that. He knew it was fine. There's a Lou. Welcome in, Ludo. How are you doing, my man? I hope you are very well. How was the rest of the Stellaris stream the other night? It's good fun watching that. Kumetio, unfortunately, just wide with the header there, I'm afraid. Now look at all those green circles at the bottom of the screen. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Such a shame that it's got that that draw and that loss in there ruins an otherwise amazing run of form. So a zebra versus an Arby's, but in green instead of black. Indeed. Right, here's Jakub. Back to Stavitsky. Stavitsky sends it in. Fortuna at the far post, off the bar. Jakub is there. Back to Stavitsky. Stavitsky. Another really, really rubbish shot from Stavitsky. I don't know if there's like a magic like shot power attribute, but whatever it is, Stavitsky really struggles to get like any purchase behind his shots. And I love it. Like genuinely. That sounds sarcastic. I love the fact that there is a player that is consistently fails to get power. So it actually feels like it's an issue rather than just a random what type of shot will it be now. Right, had another shot blocked. Pretty decent start so far, but we could really do with, scoring would be nice. Not you, Ekenäs. I don't want Ekenäs to score. As Valsinen. Back to Della Casa. Plays it into Mattia. Mattia back once again. Exchanging passes down this right-hand side. Plays it in. Rytinen gets his head to it. Now Stavitsky has a chance to come away with it. There's space for him to break into. Stavitsky plays it to Dahlstrom. Dahlstrom to Enqvist. Okay, he plays it to Enqvist. Back to Stavitsky. Stavitsky doesn't shoot. That time he doesn't even shoot. It's wonderful. That is less of a encouraging sign. Here we go. Comescio at the far post hits the bar. Second time we've hit the woodwork so far, but we're knocking on the door. We are very much knocking on the door. That's 10 shots, 1.91 xG, 0 shots on target so far. Damn, you were literally going to say that, but you were in the kitchen. Were you getting sandwiches? That's the important question. Right, GTI Rob is in. Good evening, GTI Rob. How are you doing, my dude? Right, what's on the menus? Waffles? We do like a waffle. Both the food and talking nonsense. You're going for Crudmo? No, you're not going for Crudmo. Crudmo is going for curry tonight. A fine choice. Stellaris continues to be a minefield of issues, but like FM, but good fun all the same. It was quite enjoyable watching you guys the other night. Right. I'm pleased with the number of shots we're taking. We just need to, get them on target. We are going to up that tempo. Let's be a little bit more aggressive in trying to create those chances. Head on into the second half. So Fortuna's on a 6.6. We'll probably look to bring him off. Might be looking to bring off Lundberg as well, because I'm quite happy with the performance. Jakub seems to be involved in the play quite a bit. Laz Savamasi says, just watch the stream highlight of Munu finding Almasi. Similar reaction to when I first saw him get subbed on for his Slovakia debut. Perfect. Right, so whatever it is not the Stavitsky. It is not... When it comes to finishing, it most definitely isn't Stavitsky. But when it comes to running down the wing and creating chances, it most definitely is. Oh, Jakub. Great block from Della Casa there. Right, GTI Rob asks, do I enjoy any other games other than FM? I do indeed. I am generally, though, I'm a slow pace gamer, so I enjoy turn-based games, UFO, Enemy Unknown, or more recently the XCOMs, Civilization. Those kind of games tend to be my jam. Right, ball out to Matcha. Here's Fofana. Plays it back inside the defence, and Bauer steps in. Bauer to feed Jakub. Jakub finds Lundberg. It's on his wrong foot. The shot is blocked once again. They're doing a very good job of snuffing out our chances. Do I like Rimweld? I very much do like Rimweld. Ampra's an architect for that manager. Obviously, they've got a very similar aesthetic approach. I do enjoy making what I like to call a moral prison, one that is focused on rehabilitation rather than money. Right, okay, so we're going to bring on Centauri or Bayerengiro. Bringing on Sutari as the more traditional target forward type there. And Fortuna can make way for Basirovic. And Dahlstrom hasn't really done anything, so here comes Diane. Let's be more expressive, and if we need to, in a few more moments, we're going to go two up top. So I have played Among Us as well. Not necessarily my kind of game, though, I'll be honest, because it requires like reaction speeds and knowing what on earth's going on. Right, can we do anything here, or are Ekenäs going to sucker punch us? Fofana can't get there. Jakub gets the rebound. He's now got some space. Can he set it past? He can. Beautiful footwork. Plays it across. Here's Sutari. Sutari delays the pass. Plays it out wide instead to Enqvist. A great first touch. Plays it inside to Basirovic. Basirovic denied by Hansen. This looks like it might not be the game. It might not be the game for us. Enquist sending it in. Fafana gets there. Sutari gets to the loose ball. Nothing much going on there. We move up. We carry on with those two instructions. And so Yakub will come off and on will come Byron Giro. We're actually going to make this a target forward. We're going to swap these guys round. So we're playing like that there. And we're going to stick with that, I think. We're going to stick with that for the time being. Let's see how we go. So nice. GTA Rob recently got into Crusaders Kings 3. That game is a mega time sink. It does look like I've not touched the Crusader Kings series, but yeah, Paradox do some fantastic work. Yeah, I can imagine just how long that a campaign takes on that. So Nicola asks, is this the League or Europe? This is the League Cup. So it's kind of like a pre-season tournament. But it's still an actual competition with a trophy. We won it 2 years ago. We got knocked out in the league stage before. So it's a league stage, 2 groups of 6. We play each team once in our league. 2 home games, 3 away games. And then the top 2 teams end up in a semi-final setup. So last season we won. I think we won both our home games and drew all our away games. It's looking like a similar pattern might be about to happen here, because we drew our away game 0-0. We won our home game 3-2. And this feels like it's going to peter out to be 0-0 once again. Can we do something here? Diane into Bawa. Bawa. Oh, that's not a good decision, Bawa. Not a good decision at all. So in fact, that's your last contribution. We're going to bring on Mane on for Enquist. Enquist is playing well, but it's a very, very tiring job running up and down that left flank. So there we go. Ludu says CK3 would definitely grab you for like things like Civ and Stellaris. Hey, there we go. Kumecho unmarked at the far post. It was Sutari's knock flick on at the near post. And I don't know why there was no one there. The easiest goal Kumecho will ever score. Stavitsky swings it in. Sutari flicks it on. Nobody marking the post. Nobody following the man. Far too easy. But there we go. 1-0. Can we hold on now? Do we look to drop off a little bit? We're very much dominant right now. Here's Atli Mane. Mane beats his man. Mane sends it back to Sutari. There we go. I think we're safe. I think we are safe now. Beautiful stuff. The substitutes combining. Sutari finds Byron Giro. Plays it out to Atli Mane. Mane waits for his defender to commit. Cuts inside. Cuts it across. Takes a deflection on its way through. But Sutari with his second goal in as many games. Welcome Sutari. So yeah, like I absolutely know that I'd enjoy a game like CK3. It's just about the time. So I could start playing CK3, but then I'll be like, oh, I fancy now playing a game of Civ, and then suddenly 2 days has passed and I've barely got to the mid game on either. So the main reason I haven't played Crusaders Kings is just purely time based. Right, I think we've got one more substitution left. So let's make sure that Luka Kuitunen stays fit. We will bring him on Savalainen, and we'll swap those guys around. Maybe we'll swap those guys around. We have swapped those guys around. Well done. I can move the mouse. So Knight of Knee says, what did I miss while the net wasn't helping? So we, as I had to reset the computer, we went 2-0 up against KTP. I then made a load of substitutes. Instant resulted. We won 3-2. Saved the game. We've come, and this is the first game back. And we've just scored 2 late goals, which is quite nice. Here's Byron Giro. Byron Giro's shot is deflected. Yeah, I want to know how Musterman tackles CK3. Okay, the demands are coming in. Maybe that could be a weekend stream at some point. A sidecar says, been watching on YouTube, but you brought me over here with chatter with other games. Bannerlord is one you should give a go. Very immersive. I have played Bannerlord. I found that it looked like it was quite fun. I found kind of just getting to grips with it not that intuitive. And that might well be because I'm old and I'm set in my ways. I'm used to playing things like Civ. like Endless Legend, where I'm used to very, very certain mechanics being similar all the way through. So Johnny reckons that Kumecho chance had to be a 1 XG. Let's have a look. It's got to be pretty damn close, if not. First things first, give these guys a rest. And then let's have a look at what the XG was on that. We generated nearly 5 XG in that game, which is crazy. Not that high for some reason. 0.39 apparently. That shot from basically on the goal line was just 0.39. Now headers do come with a lower XG generally, but surely if you're that close to the goal, it's got to be much higher than that. Crazy. Europa Universalis is another one like that too. A good recommendation too. A CK3 stream with Musterman would go hard. Or maybe, yeah, okay. Let's. How would people feel? Let me pop this out to a poll actually, because like one of the things that I am quite keen to do is other content. So how would people feel about non-FM content? Now, I've obviously done the co-op streams on Among Us, which I think that I will still carry on playing Among Us with that group of guys. But when I do, in future, I will probably not be streaming myself. I will advertise it and suggest go watch on Rowan's or Matt's thing, because I like the interactivity. I like the chatting, and that's not really possible when you're playing a social deduction thing. So how would you feel? I'll pop this into a poll. Dear God, no, FM only. Only sports management. Only slow stuff like Civ or CK, like CK3. I can't, not enough. It won't even allow me to do that many characters. What would be anything goes. There we go. Let's pop that in, and yeah, we'll have that. It allows me to have it running for 10 minutes, so we'll just keep it running as we go. So no rush to respond at least. And obviously, if you don't have an opinion, no need to respond at all. But yeah, I would be keen to see what your thoughts are. Certainly, my feelings on it is that I like the interaction with you guys. That's a large part of why I do the streaming. It's brilliant for kind of like the let's play type of content, but it also means that I get to chat and we get to talk nonsense, which, you know, is kind of my favorite part of all this. But yeah, I'm completely open to anything. So Real Better says you like Ekenas's crest. It's very festive. It is, isn't it? It's kind of got a holly feel to it. Where are they? Is it a holly branch? It does look. It might just be like a random leaf, to be fair. So we've got. Yeah, you can't really tell from that. But yeah, it's not a bad little logo. So laughing at FM's XG calculations, it does seem a little bit crazy. There. Right, a penalty is 0.79, I believe. Would you say 0.24 assists per 90 for a winger is a good return? Yes, definitely. Now, what I would suggest is looking into it a little bit further. So it's worth going into like competitions themselves. We probably can't get that much information from 3 games yet, but checking that they're open play expected assists. So there you can see the difference between open play expected assists and general expected assists. Obviously, the difference between the two, therefore, would be set piece expected assists. So it's very easy for a set piece taker's numbers to be inflated a little bit, which is something just to be mindful of, because if all of their expected assists are coming from corners, that's valuable still, right? Like having a good set piece taker is a very, very valuable thing. But yeah, it's useful to know that they can still generate an open play too. Right, we're going to get these guys playing some minutes in the reserves. Before our next game. Oh, right, we've got a friendly coming up next because it's a pre-season tournament and it's stretched out. Agree about Bannerlord, says Sidecar. That's where mods come in, making it harder as you go through. Also, making your own faction soldiers is awesome. Fair enough. Campuranus is an easy yes if it's Crusader Kings. Quan is an it depends. Lads Have Our Massive Fan says, I enjoy listening, but I only had that Among Us stream in the background. Indeed. And Johnny says, I was just going to say it depends on how engaging interactive the game is. I agreed with you very much there. By the way, Ward 2605, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Evening FMGNG as well. Welcome on in. How are you doing, sir? Sidecar says, yeah, Black Bannerlord playthrough, please, with a lore story behind it. You're good at that kind of stuff anyway. So what's a Bannerlord playthrough? Ladislav says, will we get specialised mini games for whatever game we play? Oh God, could you imagine a guess the historic character round where how would we do that? We create profiles for random people. Maybe like instead of where they played, you'd have a map of where they were active during their life. Instead of attributes, it might be like statistics based on how many people they killed, or how many wives they had. It could be quite fun. Look, Mar says, has to be games where you can role play like you kind of do in FM. Your idiosyncrasies are the entertaining part for me. That's fair. That's fair. RJ says, oh boy, I'll never get tired of spaghetti or Italian food in general. That is also a little bit out of the blue, but I agree completely with you. Italian food is elite, especially with how simple it is as well. Like, it's something you can throw together in 20-30 minutes as well. And gorgeous. So ACAB is going for with pesto. Pesto's fine. I do like any variation of the tomato sauces that they do as well. So you can't go wrong with tomatoes, especially in Italy. Like Mediterranean tomatoes. I don't know what it's like in Germany. I don't know what it's like in Belgium either. But the difference between tomatoes in England and tomatoes in Spain, Italy, Greece is crazy. Like actually having that fresh. Like incredible. Matt says, do what makes you happy. I can't do that on stream. I'd end up on a register somewhere. By that I meant just like being lewd, not like that. Just to be clear. So Jake Fez says, recommend people to check out FM Stag's benchmarks. Has he released an update to them? Do you know? So like his benchmarks can be very, very useful indeed. I think that from the way that I tend to view it with his benchmarks is that there's always a little bit more nuance to it than that. It's a great starting point, but then as you look through, start to consider that maybe your roles and your archetypes for players might be different to what those benchmarks say. That's my only consideration I'd add there. Right, so let's get some guys some game time. That's what friendlies are mostly for, right? Centauri in there. We've not got anyone showing interest in Karkanen right now. We might end up sending an intermediary out to do the honours at some point. Rockman over there. Slaymar, we've got a bid coming in for him for a loan, not a permanent transfer, which is cool. So let's head on in. Should be kind of a non-event, this friendly. I mean, they are a pretty decent Swedish side, let's be fair. But we're not really worried about the game at all. RJ would love to see play other games. ACAB is recommending King of the Castle. I'm not familiar with that one. We'll definitely check that out. So Jake Fairs says, sorry, it keeps on bouncing all over the place. You like to have open play key passes and key passes beside the expected assist stat when I evaluate players to get an estimate of the share of each. That's perfectly a good idea. You can as well. You can get open play expected assists and expected assists up. So you could have all four of them there, rather than having to try and then work out what proportion of expected assists came from which. So in open play, it drops to 0.15 XA per 90 for that winger. So that's probably, I would say that is kind of middle of the road. Not bad. Like maybe, depending on the rest of your team, maybe around the minimum I'd consider viable for a winger. If they're offering other things, though, for example, if they're very, very dribbly, then they're like a successful dribble means they're taking the ball past a player. They're removing that player from play temporarily, at least, and that can be valuable to creating pre-assists or causing the defense to be out of position. So I find that can be quite valuable. So if you've got on the low side unexpected assists, but they're really dribbly, or they're contributing quite a bit with goals as well, I would say that might be okay. So Zenergy is in. Welcome in, Zenergy. How are you doing? Let us have our massive fan gets it. Kill count 7,569. And then you've got to guess who the historical figure is. And that would be sick. Like the level of research going into that would be crazy. We've sold me. So Guy de Lusignan mini game when? Could you imagine? You know me though. So if we are playing other games, there will almost certainly be tie-in mini games. What they actually will be, let's be honest, like in terms of actually the logistics of it, that would have to come at a closer time as we look into it. But yeah, like definitely would be part of it. Matt says, life's too short not to do things you enjoy. If you want to diversify and do different things, do it. Thank you very much. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, obviously there's the element that like I play Civ quite a bit off stream because when you play FM a lot on stream, you kind of need that separate thing as a kind of like for decompressing. I haven't actually in the last couple of months. And that's largely because a session of Civ, you know, I'm looking at 12 hours and suddenly that's not so viable as Basirovic hits the bar, Rockman. Yeah, I mean, this game, again, as I said, doesn't matter too much. So RJ, you have Italian, like proper Knight of Nice says Portugal has great tomatoes as well. I like proper Mediterranean. Same with lemons and limes, like just everything's so much nicer there. Campurina says, yeah, when I lived in London, your vegetables were extremely bland. It doesn't help that you grow your own. Like, yeah, I can't imagine how horrendous it must be going from homegrown, fresh Mediterranean vegetables to the crap that you buy in London shops. Be horrendous. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've had to experience that. Senji says, yeah, it's not just tomatoes. It's all veg. Can happily eat nothing but veg when I'm in Lanzarote. Like, you kind of understand why the English have reputation for their food being so bland, because, like, literally, the veg, by comparison, is that bland. Hollyfab is here. Welcome in, Hollyfab. How you doing, my dude? Sidecar says pizza in Naples is otherworldly. Makes you realise how bad chain stuff is. Absolutely. Lou says, I've looked at FM Stag's benchmarks before and my head fell off. I didn't really understand what I was looking at even when looking at his explanation. I think with all these things, like with the skin, like with Stag stuff as well, is to just focus on the thing you're looking at in that moment. So look at it, look at the stuff for wingers and wingers only whilst you're thinking about wingers. Block, like if you have to, physically block the screen so you can't see the rest. Allow yourself to zero into just that one area so you don't get distracted. It doesn't become overwhelming. That register comment had me in stitches. Matt, I was being heartwarming and nice for once and you turned to smart. I'm sorry, my dude. I can't help it. I can't help it. Right, so how did you go last season? I seem to have missed what happened. White's Energy. So we won the league. We won the league with 2 games remaining. The very next game was the cup final. We won the cup final as well. And things were looking good. Things were looking very good. We had just 2 games remaining to stay unbeaten. A tricky away game against Ilves. The home game against HJK. Now, injuries have started to settle in. So unfortunately, we were playing a defensive midfielder at right back. And another defensive midfielder at centre back, and a right back at centre back. A right back at left back, and then our captain got sent off after 22 minutes. So I think at one point we might have been playing an attacking midfielder in defensive midfield as well. So we lost that game 1-0. We didn't finish the season unbeaten. We did still win the league. We're in the qualifiers for the Champions League. Everything is looking kind of rosy. So RJ says, speaking of other games, I'm having fun in Project Zomboid at the moment. I've never played it. What is Project Zomboid? Jake Fez says it's possible to find the OPXA in the Data Hub, but is it accessible in squad views, player views, etc.? It should be. Now, that might require some editing to the skin. There is a properties file, a player properties or person properties file, which has like all the IDs for these various statistics, and you can set where those statistics are then available within the game. So you can set the customization that you can have that appear in the squad view. So I'm not actually 100% certain whether it's there by default, but it is there. So let me have a look at that. I can't remember. Are you in the Discord? If you are, pop a message in there just to remind me, or pop a chat on any other video on YouTube, because I don't know how good YouTube is at like maintaining chat after a live thing. So pop a message and that will remind me to take a look at it after the post stream nap. Sidecar says, to be honest, I only work off open play stats. I'm not bothered initially if they're good from set pieces. It's just a bonus if they are. I kind of I do agree in certain respects. I think that set piece elements should be considered as a bonus in many respects, but also if you play for a team that is set piece dependent, maybe you've got to consider that if a team is playing for set pieces, they are sometimes bypassing the opportunity to create an open play. Now that's getting very granular and perhaps far too complicated for a computer game. But so I certainly say that there is some.
The statistics. It's not the statistics. You tell me. How do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Bless you so much, Slurp808. Thank you very much. Well, hello to you. 2 months with your Prime. That is like, as I say every time, you only get one of them. And that you've chosen to subscribe for me. I really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Right, so let's make the changes. So the only changes we're actually going to make are going to be the players that aren't at full fitness. So that's going to be not Karkonen. We're trying to get rid of him. So that's going to be Yakub and Slaymar. Slaymar's about to go out on loan. So actually it's just those two changes. And the rest of the reserves can carry on out there. That should be absolutely fine. We'll probably bring off Kometio at some point just to rest him a little bit, because he was the only starter who started the game. So really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Project Zomboid is the ultimate in zombie survival. Alone or in multiplayer, you loot, build, craft, fight, farm, and fish in a struggle to survive. A hardcore RPG skill set, a vast map, massively customizable sandbox, and a cute tutorial raccoon await the unwary. So how will you die? All it takes is a bite. I didn't really process any of those words other than cute tutorial raccoon, and I think I'm sold. That sounds amazing. Xenergy is someone who goes for Civ 6 as a go-to relaxing game. There is something very nice about being able to play a game at your pace, which those single player games, why I like FM as well, certainly when I'm offline, a season, generally speaking, takes me about 24 to 36 hours, because maybe I'll have a video on in the background, and maybe I'll pay more attention to the video and forget about the game for 10 minutes, and you know exactly what it's like. So Slurp says, I love your content, man, you deserve more. I appreciate it so much. I genuinely find it absolutely mind-boggling that you guys come along for this ride. It's like genuinely humbling. Like, I'm just a weirdo who likes playing Football Manager, and I started this because I thought, there might be hey, maybe if I was lucky, there might be 100, 200 people who also like to play the game in a slightly less conventional way. and like the support has been overwhelming in a really, really good way, to be clear. Really, really appreciated, and genuinely stumped by it all. A weirdo with a beard, exactly. That is probably the most accurate description you could go for. So it's a pleasure. We're all weirdos here, says Matt. Indeed. And I mean that by agreeing and saying indeed. Like I consider weirdo to be a badge of honour, just to be clear. A beardo, you might say, indeed. It's probably why we are here. We're all weirdos in our own ways that like to play FM. And it's nice that we can find other weirdos who don't judge us for playing a spreadsheet simulator in our spare time. You would have thought that we've had enough of spreadsheets probably in our working days. But no, here we do it for fun. Why? Crazy. So Real Betis has started playing Bus Simulator 21 recently. It's free on Epic Games. I do enjoy a bit of reckless driving from time to time. I mean, let's be fair, Real Betis. The best place to drive recklessly is in a computer game. I mean, firstly, it's just a lot more practical than doing it in real life. Like, you'd have to get your licenses, and you'd have to like pretend to be a safe driver to begin with to be allowed behind a bus. And then you only get to play reckless bus driver for like one time in real life before you're then probably sent to prison. So Bus Simulator's a pretty good place for that. Ladislav, our massive fan, says Slaymar frozen out of the squad and part of the Mariehamn Bob squad. What an evil manager. Not at all. The reason he's available to go on loan, my dude, is because we do want him to be part of our future, but there are better players currently. We want him to get first team football so that his development doesn't stagnate. Definitely not being frozen out. Now, whether we'll ever see the fruit of that development, because if big teams come in for him, not much we can do. But yeah, he is very much someone I hope that we'll have for a lot longer. Yeah, a fine win in a friendly that we don't really care too much about. Diane, just 2 days with that injury, which is fine. We can pop. Yeah, we'll give these guys a little bit of a rest, even though it's just a friendly. We should be okay there. We'll head on in. So, right, let's see. We've seen Muster Beardos assemble. Muster Beardo, I can definitely get on board with that. Like, I'm happy to embrace Muster Dorks. That Crudmo has occasionally suggested ones that are slightly more offensive that probably I won't embrace quite as well, but I like Muster Beardos. Muster Beardos sounds fun. Bless you, J-Bets, as well. Thank you very much. Weirdos assemble or weirdos roll out, suggests Knight of Knee. Non-beardies also welcome. Absolutely. The joy of the FM community is there was enough beard to go around. You know, like, you don't have to have a beard. We'll make up for it elsewhere. Wait a moment. Have you trimmed your beard? It looks smaller, says ACAP. So yes, it is smaller. It is smaller. There was a little bit of a mishap, shall we say. So for New Year's Eve, I was popping around to friends, just a very, very small little gathering. I just went to tidy it a little bit, just a little bit. And I was in a bit of a rush. I took a big chunk out of the side here, so I had to trim everything else back a little bit. So I was very, very distraught that evening. But you know, it's not had to be too short. That's why it's also quite uneven as well, because I was just like, right, get it down to around the same level. I don't want to trim it anymore in case I make the same mistake again. I'm sure those amongst us who are reasonably hirsute have all been in that situation where they've trimmed a little bit and then they've gone to do the other side, and they've gone a little bit further on the other side, so they then go back to the other side to trim back down, and all of a sudden you don't have a beard anymore. So I want to avoid that situation if possible. Right, so all I care about punctuality, even if a couple pedestrian casualties happen on the way for Bus Simulator. Like, I would, if it's any use, I would quite welcome you to be a bus driver where I live then. Because we have like 2 buses a day and they're never punctual. and it drives me mad to no end whatsoever. I also don't care about a couple pedestrian casualties, and as long as my bus turns up on time, I'm happy. As Energy says, most of the bus drivers you've seen definitely fall under the reckless bus driver category. Fair. Arthur, over on YouTube, asked, how do you manage to pick the players with the pizza chart? Do you find them using certain filters to find if they're on the percentile, or do you use your scouts to give you players and then you pick? So Arthur, I do the latter. I first have a pool, so I disable player search entirely. So I'm only ever reliant on players that come forwards from our scouts. And from here, we can then filter down. We can use the filters in here, but usually, like in a save like this one, for example, we're in Finland. We're looking for players that are either Finnish or Swedish, and we're looking for players who've already been scouted. So I've only got a very, very small list to work with anyway, so I'm quite happy to go through them individually. Now, we're at the very beginning of the season for many of these players, so there's not going to be much information here. But I can quite happily go through every single player, or the ones that I think are going to be reasonable and realistic. But if I was playing more expansively, say with player search available, I would use the filters first, and then pick out players that look to be in the budget or what I'm going for. Right, into the next game. It's against Inter Turku. Right, so what is our team? Our team is... Let's unpick these guys, in fact. Let's make sure we got everyone correct. We've got Snore, we've got Savalainen, we've got Whitenin, and we've got Kumetio. I'm going to stick... Like, Mane got that assist. Let's reward him with a start. Bauer needs to prove himself in this game. So this is Bauer's last guaranteed start, and then maybe Chukwuemeka will end up playing the next one. I was impressed with Jakub. And then we've got Lundberg there. So GTI Rob says, I've sneezed when trimming my beard before. Was not good. That's the worst. That is the worst. Oh, man. Oh. Right, so how many spots? We've got 3 spots left there. That's Bayangirio, that's Centauri, and Holmberg or Rockman will take the last spot there. Right, okay, actually, so we've got a break coming up. So let's head on into the break. I'll bring it forward by a couple of minutes. We'll come back and we'll then head into the into Turku game rather than have to pause the game a couple of minutes in. So I'll see you guys in roughly about 3 to 4 minutes. Right, Hollyfab, if you are still here, hope you feel better soon, my dude. Thank you very much for popping along. Yeah, take care of yourself, man. We're going to play a round of Only Connect. RJ has redeemed one of the mini games. Before I go on and explain the rules, though, I do have to ask one. So he says, "Don't come to Barbados if I'm not used to only two buses and them being late." Is it even worse in Barbados? Is it just one bus and it just never turns up? Because to be fair, it does feel like that sometimes here. That's not fair. We do have one bus at 5:30 a.m. That is usually punctual, and the bus driver is very nice. On my days into London, so on the Wednesdays, he parks just outside my house because I'm the only person that gets on that bus. The problem with that is it's 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and he really wants to talk. And the last thing I want to do at 5:30 a.m. is talk, think, exist. So, there we go. Now, Look Mar says that you were a student exchange in Dublin about 10 years ago, and you've learned that the bus times in Ireland are more suggestions and guesses than actual times of arrival. Missed it by a bee's dick, as they say. I have not heard that phrase before, but yeah, suggestions. As Johnny says, you even have to flag it down as well. Sometimes you can flag it down and the bus driver will stare at you as they drive past anyway. Generally, yeah, but buses are not an experience in the UK that you want. Right, so let's head on in and let's explain how we play Only Connect. Now, the rules here is you're going to see pictures of 4 footballers. I don't know why I held up 8 fingers there. That's confusing, isn't it? 4 fingers. 4 footballers. I'm a professional, guys. I'm a professional. 4 footballers, one after the other. Your job is to work out what connects them all. The earlier you guess, the more points you'll get. Those points put you on that lovely little leaderboard down there. Now, the pictures of the players won't tell you who the player is, so if you know who it is, I recommend popping it in chat so everyone else knows as well. And then you can kind of like play off ideas from one another. Maybe someone will suggest something and that will trigger off another idea. And that's how we tend to go with it there. So let's move on in, and here is the first player. Now, whilst we're doing that, so the big question, Ladislav Almasi fan mentions that Francesco Calzona last season worked as Napoli and Slovakia manager, was awful for Napoli, but has been one of Slovakia's best managers in recent years. I mean, Slovakia, that's not much of a statement at all, is it? Like, Slovakia have been underperforming expectations for a long, long time. So we've got all played for Inter and AC Milan. We've got Anderlecht Academy. We've got left for free. We've got scored in an FA Cup final. We've got Campionius has pointed out that it's Tielemans. Luckmar No Panther says Yuri. And Johnny Trotter said Yuri Geller. And Campionius has gone for players with most chances created from open play. So it is indeed Yuri Tielemans. I can also tell you that from the guesses that we've got so far, that we're very, very close, but not quite right there. So let's pop on to the next clue and see if that just helps narrow it down a little. So Kwan has gone for all FM Wonder Quit kids. Sidecar thinks they might be my man crushes. Jonathan Edwards has gone for played for Anderlecht and Monaco. Just a fine guess there as well. Maybe if it was such a player that had played for 2 things there. And Crodmo has said scored the winner in an FA Cup final. And it's really annoying. Now this is going to be weird because Crodmo generally is a really pedantic bastard, and this time my pedantry means that he's ended up getting the points, which feels a little bit unfortunate. So for certain, Real Betis is getting a bonus point for being so very, very close. But Crodmo does get the 3 points because Yuri Tielemans did score the winner. Whether Ladislav Almasi fan wants to acknowledge it or not, in an FA Cup final. As did Carnu for, was it for Portsmouth? As did Ben Watson for Wigan. And obviously last year, Kobe Mainu scored the winner against Man City. It was indeed FA Cup goal scorers, winners. So it's the goal that won the game, the winner. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. Nerf the Crodmosas Campiorinis. Absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm not though. He gets the full 3 points. I'm not going to steal one of his points to give a bonus point out. He does get that. Very, very well deserved. So Ladislav Amasi is sticking to it. It's an illegal winner in the FA Cup final. I should have put more examples of Chelsea losing FA Cup finals because, like, as a Villa fan, I know quite a lot about winning goals in FA Cup finals feeling a little bit harsh. Like, for example, when Mario Melchiot dived to win the free kick that Chelsea won the 2000 FA Cup final with. And after going 1-0 up with what would arguably be an illegitimate goal, then kicked Dion Dublin in the face and didn't concede a penalty. So all I have to say to you is, shh. Love you really, my dude. Love you really, my dude. Right, let's head on into the game against Inter Turku. So it's back to a home game, which should be nice. If we win this, that will put us on 10 points. I think that's surely got to be enough to see us through. That said, we were on 9 points after 4 games last time round. We were top of the table and still managed to miss out with a defeat. So there were some fabulous guesses in there. JH Krez answered a question, so I think Verso Daily asked one whilst we were playing the game. So he asked, how do you guys scout for players suited for your team? So as I personally, I leave it to the scouts' volition. We hire them for a reason. But as JH Krez has said, he's given you some good advice there. Sidecar thought I'd live in Aston. It would make sense as a Villa fan, wouldn't it? But no, I'm the worst. I'm the worst type of football fan. I'm someone that has zero connection whatsoever to the club. My best mate supported Aston Villa when I was young. My parents didn't really care much for football. So the team I knew most about was Aston Villa. So there we go. Right, into Turkey, we've had some good moments in this opening exchange there. A clearance after it, I would have called that more of a cross than a shot from Darren Smith. But yeah, something to be mindful of. They have certainly started the game well. But can we hem them in? No, we can't. They managed to get it clear. Here's Reitinen. Plays it across to Savalainen, out to Stavitsky. It's not the Stavitskys. It's not. He's going to play it back to Savalainen. And there, Reitinen once again settles on the ball. Dahlstrom back to our ball-playing defender. Play some nice balls, ball-playing defender. That is a nice one into Lundberg. Here's Mane. Mane can't get past his man, Pirajo, who managed to make a good tackle. Plays it inside. Can we force an error here, though? No. Here comes Turku. Smith. He's got a man over in Nogueira. Nogueira. Can he skip past Savalainen? He steps inside beautifully. Nogueira cuts inside once again to Pirajo. 1-0 to Inter Turku. Lovely footwork from Nogueira out on the left there. Boo. Quickly for MustermannFM, who scored the winner in the DFB Pokal for Frankfurt in 2019? No idea. What's the answer, Lukmar? We got any legitimate answers coming through there? We don't. And Campiorinis is on the Musterman out train already. There we go. We've missed this Campiorinis. Right, Reiten into Savalainen. Back to Reiten. Dahlstrom here. Always facing the wrong way, but that's good ball for Stavitsky. Stavitsky into the side netting. It looks like a block. Was that the keeper? Or was that a defender? It looks like a defender there with a block. Lundberg is taking the corners. No, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. Here's Stavitsky though. Stavitsky wins another corner. And now this is all to our... I can't take control during a game. No. Oh, we're going to have Lundberg taking corners all game long. Oh, that's not good. So I think Enquist comes on at half-time just so that we have a left-footed player to take the corners. So Jonathan Edwards asked, what did I make of the penalty in the Arsenal-Brighton game? You're not going to like the answer, John. You're not going to like the answer. If that was a foot rather than a head, nobody would be questioning whether it was a penalty or not. Yeah, I think it was a perfectly reasonable decision. Bel Poscioni is here. Welcome in, Bel. How are you doing? Happy New Year, my man. Right. Into Turku. Looking to break once again. Tervanen over the top. Komecha gets his header in. Fortuna now plays it into Jakub. Over to Stavitsky. Stavitsky has space. Can he beat his man? Can he play it in? Jakub's header was not worthy of a highlight. Not worthy of a highlight whatsoever. Lundberg is taking free kicks as well. Our big target man is not going to be... I can't... God, this makes me feel awful. I don't want to make a substitution before half time, but seeing our target man on set pieces is horrible. Right, Bauer is going to come off at half time as well. We've created some very, very poor quality chances. So we're going to the 4-4-2. We are going to bring on somebody left-footed. And that has to be Daniel Enquist. So Mane comes off, as does Bauer. And let's push these guys up, Jakub and Lundberg. Let's actually try these guys the other way round as well. We've had a lot of the ball. Let's try and create some better quality chances going into the second half. So Campiorinis wants me to be replaced by Chris Coleman. Ouch. Ouch, it's bad enough. It was Gacinovic who scored the third Frankfurt goal. Fair enough. So it's a trick question. They won in 2018. It was 3-1 versus Bayern. But that's how little you knew about the DFB Pokal. So you know how it feels when you keep talking about the FA Cup for me. Absolutely, Luke Pants. I completely understand that. Absolutely, though, with the element of being a British streamer, I'm going to have a greater width of knowledge when it comes to British things. But I try my best to make sure that we have guess the players that are based in other countries as well. We try to have only connects that are much more neutral in that respect. But you're probably going to get a slightly higher proportion that will be British based. Sorry, my dude. Right, Jakub. Oh, actually, I should have bought Bayern-Giro. I played him as a poach because I was thinking of Bayern-Giro, not Jakub there. That's a mistake on my behalf. Here comes Basirovic. Let's push that tempo up as well. And going for all the substitutions into the last 20 minutes. So Sutari, he scored 2 goals already in this competition. So he is our super sub. Well, that's the theory at least. Right, let's demand some more. We've not really created. We deserve to lose this game if I'm being completely frank with you. But maybe we could steal a draw in the last minutes. Bayern-Giro looking to create something here. Sends the ball in. Sutari! He is the super sub. There we go. Right, so the next one will be, Johnny says, the next will all be DFB Pokal based. And look, no Pants reckons if he keeps on whining, keeps on whining, it's most likely. Right, let's see there. Yeah, no doubts about that. Don't know why they're even checking. Why are you even suggesting there are questions over that? Right, can we get a late winger? That would be very, very undeserved. But here's Enquist. Loads of space. Drills the low cross in. Doesn't get there. Basirovic back to Stavitsky. Enquist once again tries to get the ball in. Romano gets it clear. Cometio outside to Enquist again. Sends it in early. Byron Girio. I don't know how to say his name. We do not deserve this. Whatsoever. But it's a late turnaround. 2 goals in mere matter of minutes. Enquist, a lovely ball from deep. Rising high. That's why we brought him in. He can do the fast things. He can do the aerial things. They're suggesting it might have been offside again. Again. Never in doubt. Never in doubt at all. A win is a win. Indeed it is. We need a song for Sutari. We do need a song for Sutari. We need a song for a lot of these players. But maybe that's going to be the advantage of having a few days between now and the next stream on Friday. We might be able to get some new stuff in. Snore punches it clear. Here's Sutari. Alright, play the pass. He does indeed. There's Diane. He's got Enquist over on the left. He spots it. Enquist plays it into Basirovic. Basirovic across to Savalainen. Savalainen forward from right back. Hits the inside of the post. And Legbo gets it clear. Savalainen is there to cover. There's another highlight immediately after. Enquist gathers the ball. Plays it inside to Akereke. To Cometio. Cometio just going to take his time on the ball. There's 4 minutes left. Can we make it 3? Enquist plays it into Basirovic. Hits the outside of the post. So slightly off topic here, but what do you think about the possibility of Harry Potter replacing Lopetegui at West Ham? I really like Graham Potter even. I'd love to see him back in management. I feel a little bit for Lopetegui. So there's been quite a few heavy defeats where maybe call it naivety, but Lopetegui has clearly asked the players to go and attack and try and score some goals, and that subsequently led to them being even leakier in defence when the defence isn't particularly good. A defence that is regularly starting Mavropanis is a defence that is going to be in trouble. So I admire the fact that he has been going for it, even if not necessarily had the quality to perform what they're trying to do. And ultimately, Lopetegui hasn't at any point proven that he's got the ability to get the right performances in the Premier League. So, I feel sorry for him, but it's probably a needed change, and I'd love to see Potter back in the league. Right, so our last game. Oh no, we've got another friendly in between this and the next thing. 10 points now, so that's got to be. What's the situation? Are we in danger once again? No, we have qualified. We have qualified at a canter. Our final game is going to be away against HJK. So we could finish top of the league. But no real pressure there coming forwards. Musterman in times 2. Biro in Giros is what I'm hearing. Biro in Giros. Biro. We're going for Biro. Yeah, we could go for that. We could definitely go for that. Right, Gary Potter, is that his BTEC cousin? It is indeed. Absolutely. Losing 3-1 to Leicester should have been the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't believe he wasn't sacked then. But that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. So, Leicester's opening goal was Mavropanis dropping deep when he shouldn't have dropped deep. He played Vardy onside, and West Ham were brilliant apart from scoring. The most shots that West Ham have had in a game in the Premier League ever. But by pushing forwards in that second half and keep on pushing forwards, the space opened up and they got hit on the counter-attack. And so it looks like a much, much worse result than it was in terms of performance. And a lot of that blame has to fall on Jared Bowen's shooting. Jared Bowen missed so many very good chances. Danny Ings deserves the blame because he failed to attack the ball. He stopped running to attack crosses, on a couple of occasions that would have been tap-ins that he was onside. The players are letting him down. But as I said again, he hasn't done anything to prove that he deserves more time. To send home. There we go. Right, Holofab is still there. Welcome back in. How are you feeling, my man? I hope you're okay. Right, Zened G has gone for Sutari. That's his name to the tune of Rihanna. What's my name? Interesting. We could give it a try. Right, Crudmo asks Holofab, guess what football shirt he's wearing tonight? If it's not Vitesse, this is very, very poor form of you, sir. So Campianus guessed Asteris Tripolis. It's not right. It's not Vitesse, and it is the right country. So is it Ajax? Nope, that's in the draw. Is it Go Ahead Eagles? That's an interesting guess. Is it Quick Boys? It should be Quick Boys. You don't have a Vitesse shirt. That's one you've always wanted. It's bigger than Utrecht, but not Feyenoord. Is it Heerenveen? Or however it's spelt. That's fair. That is fair indeed. PSV is being guessed as well. AZ has been guessed. Fortuna Sittard has been guessed. Holofab think 1988. Oh, the flu is starting to strike down our players now. That's the second out with it. Diane he's not got injury prone as a thing, but he does seem to miss a lot of time. So are we getting any so top os? Oh wait, I know the answer. But aren't you the one who asked the question? You should know that. Oh, right, you were just guessing. But okay, I see. So Hollyfab says it should be a Van Basten shirt if it's 1988. Minus 10 points for Crodmo. I'm on board with that. So Lukmano Pants knows that it's a Dutch team, but still going for the strongest from Bolivia. That would be a shock answer now. Real Betis is going for Groningen. We've had guesses for Twente and Heracles. Then AC. Right, this is another friendly that we can move through with relative speed. All the backups again. So Fortuna, Enquist, Kerake, Kuitanen, Artie Marty, Holmberg, Harkonnen. We've just got a fewer players available on the bench this time round. We're not going to bring up any of the reserves. In fact, whilst we're here, so let's see if anyone is interested in Karkinen. No one is interested in him. Let's see if we can get anyone this way. We can't. We probably should have done this whilst we're still in January. That's my bad. And then we'll head into the friendly now. Right, we'll probably make all our substitutions at half time and then instant result the second half bit, because as I said, this isn't necessarily an important game. So ACAB went for a Netherlands shirt with Davids on the back. I love their name. You just love the name The Strongest. That's fair. That is fair. Is it Willem Zwei? We'll never have reason to anyways, but the British bias in this stream, there's always going to be British bias, especially with the German contingent here. There, you know, we've got to play up the rivalry. There is no rivalry, but we like to pretend that there is. Right, is it a Rinus Mikkels kit? This is a very vague shirt. Is it Almere? Oh, I know, says Campiorinus. We faced Ardo Den Haag a decade or so ago. Is it that one? So we said think 1988 was his clue. Is it a Perry Van Erle shirt? I thought it might make you smile that I'm wearing a cheap knockoff Netherlands Euro 88 shirt. Whatever you do this evening, you can think that over in England there's a middle-aged guy running around in 3-degree temperatures playing football in that shirt. And I mean, it seemed quite fitting as well, because like you'll probably look like a bootleg player as well. Like now, just to be clear, I can say that sounds mean, but Crodmo runs absolute rings around me, which is why I haven't played in like 3 years. He has humbled me so much at 5-a-side that I never went back. But I can still call him crap. There is no rivalry, indeed. So Hollyfabs says a Rijkaard shirt is acceptable as well because he spat on Voller, or Kerman wiping his ass with a German shirt. All the rivalry is coming out now. There we go. So someone did say that earlier. Is going to be my guess. There's someone in my university with an Oriente Petrolero bumper sticker. That is niche. That is very niche. So you look like a bootleg Gerald Vandenberg. No comments. How many cups did you have? Talking about the Dutch teams of the 80s and 90s, or should I say the Dutch teams of all history? I mean, God, how bad it must be to know that, like, even Denmark have won stuff in the 90s. Greece have won stuff, but poor old Netherlands, poor old England, just can't do it. We do hate the Dutch, though, especially for spitting on Rudy Vuller. I think it's an iconic moment. That's worth something. Even Greece, exactly. Even Greece. Crodmo has an Independiente Petrolero shirt. I've said since then though, Rich. You said Netherlands won in 1988. They've won nothing since. Like I'm going to pretend that everything starts from the 90s. Netherlands have won nothing since then. England have won nothing since then. Greece have. I'm just going to keep on mentioning it because let's face it, Greece now, it's 20 years since Euro 2004. It's not going to be that much longer until it feels like England and their World Cup in '66, where it's so far away that you can't really keep on harping on about it. So take every small victory we possibly can. Right, so Bauer comes in. Do I need to make any of these other? These guys are all fine. Rockman, I'd probably like to bring in. These guys are all okay. Satari is fit enough as well, so we'll pop everyone else. I'm cool with that. And let's just skip through to the end because it is only a friendly. And let's see how many players got injured because we didn't take control. 3-2 again. 3-2 appears to be the mystery instant result scoreline. Right, pop these guys on a rest. And then into the final game away against HJK. And then we should have at least one game after that, which will be the semi-finals, and potentially 2 games if we can get to the final as well. So Lookmar says, luckily there are no French in this chat to be offended by this. What did Johnny Trotter say? Oh my, what's Johnny said? That was a German civil war. Okay, that's fair enough. Correct, especially in Alsace, applying to the French are German. Yep, there are no French. Oh, if you are French and you're listening in, and you want to put the Germans in their place, please do. So there we go. Capiona says that was just a few years ago. We aren't getting old at all. It's coming up to 21 years ago. It's crazy. I think Lookmar no pants is on a wind up tonight because he's Aggie. Good British slang there. Because Only Connect wasn't Bundesliga focused. That's understandable. It's understandable, and it does mean he's probably going to end up being quite Aggie in a few more streams as well. He's on the warpath. Wait, are we allowed to tell anti-German jokes? It depends on how good-natured they are. I think would be the best way of saying it. As long as it is very clear, it's tongue-in-cheek. I might only time you out for 5 minutes. I think that's reasonable. So you were born just after a World Cup, actually. I mean, we were all born after a World Cup. Whether it's an important one is what matters. So what has Matt missed? I think we're starting a war with the Germans. Just don't mention the war, says Rich Son. I've just done that. That's a shame. ACAB says we can't understand your English humour anyway, which is fine. Did you hear about the German Chinese takeaway? I'm worried where this is going, Crodmo. I am worried where this is going. I'll be honest. As I said, good-natured is as far as I'm going. So Johnny says we've crossed the historical political Rubicon. So Crodmo, have at it. Half an hour after you're eaten, you're still hungry for power. That's okay. That is okay. I'll redeem the next mini game, guys, okay? And it better be about German football. Now, see, the wonder of this, right, is because despite prepping the games before the stream, and granted, I do it in the morning. I genuinely can't remember what I've prepped until I see the first clue myself. So I can't even guess at whether one of them would be appropriate. Let's think. Well, I know one isn't. Guess the player. Okay, I remember who the guess the player is. Can I remember what the last Only Connect was? Not sure I can. What did we have earlier? We had that earlier. This. Right, okay, I remember what they all are now. I'm not going to tell you whether any of them have any German links, though. Right, so our full strength squad should be right. That I suppose that injury to Holmberg is quite nice because it just means that all the fit players we've got will be on the bench. Right, and then Enquist stays in there. Kereke and Dahlstrom will stay there. Stavitsky. Fortuna goes onto the bench. He hasn't had a great impact so far. Santari gets the start ahead of our star man Lundberg. Bayern will get the start as well. So I think that's our strongest lineup. Olifab says he's going to hide his bike. There. Right, I need a good performance for you guys. Here we go. Into a challenging game away against HJK. Right, you're not that well versed in mainland Europe banter, says Campurinus. You don't want to be honest. It's really not that interesting or worthwhile. Campurinus is really saying it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be DeMarco. Ladislav, our massive fan, wants the South Korea lineup versus Germany in the World Cup. That might come up at some point. Sidecar says he bought a German sat-nav once. Every time I hit go after putting in the address, it tried to take me to Warsaw. Solid. Johnny Trotter says kept asking you to turn right. There we go. Campions, we have the complete opposite thing in Cyprus, where Chinese takeaway portions are usually extremely large. We are a country with very large portions anyway, so it doesn't leave you hungry. Right, we've had a chance. That seems okay. Here's Stavitsky trying to cause something else. Basirovic goes all the way back. Here's a Kereke now. Plays it inside to Kamecho. Kamecho finds Dahlstrom. We've got some space here. Lovely turn for Bayern Giro. Bayern Giro forces the save, and HJK managed to clear. An encouraging start so far. Vahe with a throw into Perkan. Perkan creates space on the right, sends the cross in low. Snore gathers. Now, is this going to be a goalkeeping error, or is this going to be us sending the ball forwards really quickly? The Kereke to Kamecho. This is going to be an error, isn't it? We're going to play a loose pass. There's the loose pass. Bande. He plays it across to Mentu. Mentu finds Perkan. Ramadan is free down the right. Ramadan feeds Murto. The shot's deflected. Snore gets the save. Turns it round the post. Right, so let's see. Look, Mark, under your bed. Oh, just shouting Oliver Cromwell. And Crudmo saying that he's not a fan of Oliver Cromwell. Is anyone? Is it anyone? My wife's family has a strong IRA connection, so we're now going to be reaching the troubles portion of the stream. So bad news. A message in German sent 110 years ago by homing pigeon was just found. Worst news, it was an acceptance letter to an art school. Yeah, that's certainly a joke. That is certainly a joke. I'm getting agitated. Should go to an art academy in Wien. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. That is how Massey fan asks who is Oliver Cromwell. A genuine question, or is this a planet like? I'm sure Crodmo will fill you guys in. Right, Murto pulling forwards. Okay, or not. Maybe there will be no more highlights for us, so I won't have to stop every now and then. Reitinen wins the header. Kimetio plays it across to Savalainen. So since our early two chances, we haven't really created anything. And they haven't been great chances for HJK, but we're looking like a team that hasn't played together. A lot of these passes that are being under-hit seems to suggest there's some cohesion issues, which is a shame because we've not had that much of a change season to season. Here's Vahe. Look at the space over on the left. Ramadan squeezes past. Ramadan with the cross. Murto with the header. That's over. So So let's fire up. See if we can get a little bit more of a positive response into this second half. We're allowing them to play out quite easily. We are in a mid block, so we're not pressing particularly high. Pasta out to Vaha. Vaha cross to Ramadan. Ramadan down the line. Enquist steps in nice and easy. Plays it back to Snore. Snore should probably look to pass these guys before they tucked inside so heavily. Instead, he sends it long. But we managed to step in. It's a bad pass by HJK this time. Here's Stavitsky. Stavitsky gets ahead of his man. Stavitsky! Stavitsky!
I like the way he's going. Stavitsky, he's gonna bag it up. I like the way he's going. Stavitsky, he's gonna bag it up.
There we go. I've been criticising Stavitsky scoring all stream, and there he proves us wrong. But it does seem to be the same for both teams at the moment. Like, all the chances feel like they've come from bad passes. And maybe that's part of it being a pre-season tournament thing. Right, Stavitsky finds Sutari. Sutari on the turn, shot blocked. Possibly. Now, had that been Lundberg in the box, Lundberg on his stronger left foot, that might have been a goal. Stavitsky with the corner into the far post. Kumecho heads it over. Suzenergy went for I was pissing on the side of the road when suddenly an American girl walks by. She saw my penis and shouted gross. I shouted back danker. See what you did there. See what you did there. Okay, it was a genuine question about Cromwell. So, yes, Cromwell was part of the... what were they called? You had the round... He wasn't the round... Was he the Roundheads? I should really remember this. But basically, yeah, a military leader in the 1600s who was part of the revolution with the monarchy. Yeah, the other side, a bit of a dick. I think... Yeah, let's go with that. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. A bit of a political dick. Slaughtered thousands in Ireland. Yep. So yes, military dictator who ruled England during the 17th century after our king was executed. I mean, ruled is perhaps giving him more credit than it's due, but wasn't he involved in getting that king on trial to be executed? Yes, he was one of the regicides. Oh. Okay, Crudmo was actually answering for me. Perfect. He was a Roundhead. Yes, I can never remember the names of them. But yeah, it's all to do with the Civil War. There wasn't really anyone involved in the Civil War who comes away with it particularly well. Well, that's the time for you to return to the stream. Welcome in, my dude. Cavaliers and Roundheads. Cavaliers were the Royalists. Roundheads were Cromwell. I love that it's... Roundheads were Cromwell rather than saying Roundheads were Republicans. But it's just, yeah, a little bit cult of personality in some respects. Band-Aid shot wide, should have done better there. You should change his tune to It's Not the Statistics commentary with the next changed obvious. It's like you say that, but I would if you can do a Geordie accent and at the right patter, perfect. Unfortunately, I can't. It is something I would love. Right, Bio and Giro is on a booking, so on comes Yakub. Actually, we're just going to make all the changes here. Basirovic is tired as well, and Enquist. So a nice 4 sub change. I think we'll do that. Yeah. So we're probably committing to the 4-4-1-1 for the rest of the game. Does Crudmo have a podcast called Dribbling with History? Triddling through history with Crudmo's wife, and Crudmo's brother. There we go. Not your brother. Not your brother. Why not your brother? No thanks, you're out. Billy Wilder had a great quote. The Austrians are brilliant people. They made the world believe that Hitler was a German and Beethoven an Austrian. Fair. Right, last 10 minutes or so. Dahlstrom's looking tired, so we'll bring on... Got 2 of the more defensive midfielders on at that point. And... yeah, I think that does. We will drop things off a little bit. Right, there's a Maestro arriving as HJK look to equalise with Mentu. There we go, it's fine. Welcome in, Maestro. Just dropping by to have a great stream and have a good evening to everyone. Well, hello and goodbye, Maestro. Lovely to see you, my dude. If your wife had any say in your podcast, it'd be exclusively about cats. I'd listen to that. Perkan is so offside. Could he be any more offside is the question. Absolutely no worries about that one. And usually I'm rubbish at judging that. Final change then. Queetonen on for Kerake. And there we go. In fact, we might just drop that line a little. Hopefully that can see us through. But there is a highlight before that can take place. And it's going to involve Bauer passing the ball away. And a chance for Perkan down the right. Perkan is onto it. Can he send it across to Pandolfi? What a block by Reitinen. Elite defending. In terms of a PR campaign, that's one hell of an effort. Absolutely. See, this is why Anything Goes won the Musterman poll earlier. That's fair. That is fair. Cyril is in over on YouTube. Welcome in, Cyril. How are you doing, sir? How was your evening so far? Beethoven being German was something I went practically my entire childhood adult without knowing. Everybody thinks he's Austrian. Good PR campaign. Completely right on it. Zenergy Mashup says he's built a 1 to a million model of a German submarine. It's a pretty good... Okay. It's a maths joke. We've got to an interesting point of the evening where we've reached the maths joke points. No comment, Zenergy. No commenting. No comment. Right, you still like Holifab's bike reference, which is obviously too sophisticated for this chat. Don't pretend you're sophisticated, Crudmo. We know really you're not. Corner comes in. Kamecho at the far post, straight at Suarez. They don't have Bratt anymore. Oh no, he was on loan. Quentin Bratt was on loan, wasn't he? So they've picked up. I wonder if that's a permanent signing or they've gone for another lone goalkeeper. Right, Queetonen into Bauer. Bauer loses the ball. There's bad time to lose the ball into the final few seconds. Perkan comes away with it. Here's Vjoinen. Thankfully it's nothing. Now, I know there have been wins during the course of this stream already, but that feels like quite a big one against a big team, so... There we go. There we go. And look, Marno Pants, I will allow that. I will overrule Automud. Automod, because you should be allowed to marry that hoe. There we go. That allows us to pip them to the post. So we should play the team in second from the other group. Which means we get elves. Of course we get elves. Yeah, I should have known. We actually probably wanted to lose that game, really. Bloody elves. But we have... So it's 2 weeks between, so we can now add in a friendly here. That friendly can be against... Odds? Let's go for odds. No, odds don't want to come here. Is that going to be the same for... Nope, Sarpsborg are willing. Sarpsborg are willing, so we'll invite Sarpsborg over. Hydrate, that's a good idea. A fine idea. The audio not syncing is what gets me every time. It's what makes it beautiful, right? But watching the VOD at 2 speed is so much funnier. Amazing. I haven't seen it at 2 speed. But that probably... I'll have to admit, it's bad enough listening to my own voice back, but the idea of hearing it being like pitch shifted higher because it's at 2 speed, oh god, what would that sound like? So I absolutely agree. HJK are nothing when they face us. We do seem to do all right against them. Right, so just wanted to type it again. It's such a cool name. Oh, you just mentioned Club the Strongest. Fair dues. I'm quite happy if every comment you make starts with the words Club the Strongest. Why wasn't Jesus born in Liverpool? God couldn't find 3 wise men or a virgin. Right, so Potato says, Ilves, don't leave us alone in the Liigacup, for fuck's sake. Indeed, it's okay. We would have probably needed to beat them in the final, so let's beat them in the semis. We've done it. We did it when we won the cup 2 years ago. And I don't want to sell Edlund to Jerv. Who on earth are Jerv? And why do they have £80,000? They're in the Obersliga. They are a bottom half Obersliga side. I'm not familiar with Jerv. It's not a bad offer. And a bad opening offer. We're not going to accept it, considering it involves him playing and internationals. We'll probably get him complaining now. But like, if we do get offers towards the top end of his valuation, I mean, be hard. We've got like Snore should in theory be our starter for the foreseeable future. Artie Marty is a dependable backup. I prefer people to be coming in and bidding for loan. He is on the loan list. There we go. So that thing in their badge looks like it needs to be put down or something. Look, Mar, how can you not appreciate the links? The links is amazing. Like, Sil has just won the Bundesliga with Leipzig. With no intention of spending my preseason in Club World Cup, I put all highlights on full speed, and somehow in the final, 6-1 against City in the quarters. Incredible. Incredible. There's a club called Coronel Bolognese. Interesting. I mean, it's not as strong as the strongest, that's for sure. Tony Trotter, is Club the Strongest a suggestion? I mean, how else are they going to learn? Right, Lou says, this might be a smidge difficult to explain in a stream. Number 1 top tip for making transfers in January when using your skin. Identify what you're looking for. Like, really simplify it down. So let's take, for example, we've got very limited information because we've obviously only played 5 games. But let's say we were looking at Savu Savalainen. Savu Savalainen here plays as a fullback on support, take fewer risks, and he's asked to tuck inside when he's marking. So what we're looking for from him is a player who wins his tackles because he's out wide against wingers, a player who's going to progress the ball because we're asking him just to kind of sit deep, pass it into players ahead of him, not trying to create. So we're not looking for expected assists. We're not looking for him to get on down the wing. So we just want a player that progresses, wins their tackles, doesn't lose the ball that often. So we'll use that, and we're just focusing on what those things are that we want from that player, and we're looking here. Now we can see that he's won 100% of his tackles. Brilliant. We can see that he's been very safe on the ball for fullback in the 99th percentile there. And we can see that he's not that progressive. So he's only in around the 50th percentile for progressive passes. So we can say, right, okay, if this is a position we're looking to reinforce, then let's use those metrics. Here we've got somebody who's going to win. You're not going to 100% tackles. You can't have better than that. So maybe we're going to look for someone who wins 90% of their tackles. We're quite happy with the possession loss there, but let's say that we leave a little bit of leeway there. So we want somebody who loses the ball less than 7 times a game. And then if we're looking for an improvement in progressive passes, we're probably looking for somebody who completes more than 6 progressive passes a game. And that's it. We've just picked out the 3 stats that we're looking for that position. We've used what we've already got as a base point, and we've just moved those thresholds around a little, and that would be the starting point. I'd use those filters in player search if I had player search available. And then we'd start filtering down. We'd be sending scouts out to get the hidden information. We'll be trying to judge kind of on the level of player that they are. So, I'm not going to expect somebody in the 10th tier of English football to be able to perform as well as they're performing in the 10th tier if they came over to Finland. But yeah, the starting point should be, what does that player do? What does my player do? Can I get improvements there? Does that help? Or does that make things more confusing? Right, so the friendly against Sarpsborg will do the same thing as we did with the other friendly. We'll play the game. We will then make substitutions and we'll instant result to the end. We've got 11 subs for this game, so we can almost get away with what we'll probably do is we'll start our starting team so that they don't just have the full period of rest in between, but they also get start their resting period 45 minutes beforehand. So Campiorina says, guys, it's almost 10 here and tomorrow I go back to work after basically 15 days of holidays. So goodbye everyone and have a nice rest of the day. Have a lovely evening, Campiorinas. Thank you very much for dropping by. I hope the return to work isn't too painful. So Sidecar asks, what happens when the strongest lose? Does their name pass on to the victors? That'd be fun. That would be fun. So Jake Fez says that Jerv actually managed to relegate 2 times in a row after promoting to the top tier a couple of years ago. Fair enough. So maybe got promoted a bit too early and then the free fall happened. Jake Fez's top tip for January is to focus on the summer leagues, like South America. So scout them beforehand when they have full data. That's again a reasonable thing to do. Also, just save before data reset so you can go back and look at players if you need to. So yeah, we'll start our starters, make as many changes as we can at half time, instant result from there. It is, after all, just a friendly, and then we head on into the game against Ilves, where we are going to win, because we're going to win the fucking Liigacup. Right? Absolutely. Definitely, 100%. No doubts about it. You asked your German friend if he knew what the square root of 81 was. He said, no. Well done. Another maths joke. I might need to start timing out when we do the maths jokes. Obviously, for those that don't get it, German for no is 9. Square root of 81 is 9. Right, so Lou says that's really helpful. I do tend to get into the weeds and struggle to distill what I actually want. So forcing myself to pick 2 or 3 data points before looking for things is a great starting point. Yeah, like always with any of this stuff is to try and tunnel vision. Work out the things that you're really, really focused on and ignore everything else. Like once you've then got some players that you're looking at, you might then start to consider those other elements, but just trying to reduce it to the simplest possible form and ignore all the noise. So look, Mar says, if you keep that shit up, I'm going to start talking about the Blitz. Oh dear. It was a very inoffensive German joke. Look, Mar says, Schlampig gebombt. I beg your pardon. Zenergy's just lost their Gibraltar wonder kid for a month. Where did you leave them last? I find, like, if you look behind the sofa or like down the cushions, that's where most lost things end up. Ah, damn. Johnny Trott had already said that. I'm sorry. Cronmo says, my dad grew up in the Blitz. His eardrum was shattered by a V2 rocket in 1944. Gosh. My mum was born in London during an air raid. Wow. Zenji says he's currently resting on it with a groin strain. He's a wonder kid, so I'd be very wary of believing him when he says he's got a groin strain. So Lou asks, for example, at DM, I'd probably look for high pass completion, tackles, and maybe possession 1. That seems reasonable. I would personally prefer possession lost as a metric over pass completion. I find pass completion is perfectly fine, but they all tend to be around the same mark. You're looking at for a defensive midfielder, you'll be looking around that 88 to 90% mark, generally speaking. Whereas possession loss tends to show where they've been careless with their passing, where they might have lost it because they've been dwelling on the ball, where they might be trying to dribble when they shouldn't do. For me personally, I find possession loss to be a really, really useful metric for player intelligence. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. That is now the international sign for intelligence. Right, yeah, that's cool. I'm happy, whatever. Do we have... Right, Holmberg can come on. Queetonen can come on. Atley Manor can come on. Bauer and Diane can come on. Rockman, Fortuna, Nürnberg, Jakub. And then let's see if the scoreline ends up being 3-2 again, as that is the magic instant results scoreline tonight. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't told how he strained his groin. Fair enough. You don't really want to ask, do you? That's the problem. And Jakub has picked up an injury for 7 weeks. Oof, that's not so good. Injured innocuously, apparently. After the striker made an ordinary movement during the game. That's not particularly useful information, is it at all? Oh, how did you get injured? Just moving normally. I'll go off. So Kvez says, yeah, they had almost never been in the top tier before. This is talking about Jerv again. In my FM23 saves, they're desperate for players for their promotion. Help me upload some of your own players. Fair enough. Hollyfab says the English are not a very spiritual people, so they invented cricket to give them some idea of eternity. Yeah. I mean, like, literally, I'm pretty certain that cricket only exists so that English people had an excuse for drinking 5 days straight. Tiki Press is in. Happy New Year to you. I hope you're doing well. How was your New Year? Matt reckons that Zenergy mashups might have a reasonably attractive physiotherapist. That's why they're out for a month. Right, Sidecar says something in German. Something about night. Maybe it's good night. I will assume that it's good night. So Lou says, I mean, you're pointing to the aforementioned grey matter where intelligence resides. I mean, like, a lot of it is kind of more like my nose and eye. There is very little intelligence that resides around here. For me specifically, anyway. Right, Zenergy says, I was about to disagree, but now I've just found out that your head physio is female. So there we go. That's problem solved. They're not injured. They just wanted to spend time on the physio's table. Right, Kvez says, pass completion and possession loss correlate. I also started to care less about pass percentage. Possession loss also correlates with the passing attribute, so makes sense. So yes, passing loss is going to cover a lot of actions. It's failed dribbles. It's being caught on the ball. It's being tackled. Like, it might not be a failed attempt to dribble. That might be just having a brain fart. It's failed passes. It's failing to secure loose balls. You might get a touch on it and have a heavy touch. So it's a really, really useful way to understand player intelligence or unintelligence, as Matt has suggested.
It's not the statistics. You tell me, how do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Bless you so much, Zenergy. A subscription with Prime. As I said, you've only get one of them. You only get one of them, and you've decided to use it here. I really, really do appreciate it. And it's not the statistics. It's not the statistics. So Sidecar says that it's a German jest. That's fair enough. I will have to look it up after stream, if I remember. So Tiki Press had a hectic New Year's. 2 flights cancelled on the 31st and 1st. Back late to the UK and then back to work. Oh, that's rubbish. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, how rotten. I suppose at least it's going to be a very unique New Year's. It's certainly one you're not going to forget anytime soon. And we have another player. Wasn't Dan? Well, there is something going on here. He's just come back from the flu. And now he claims to have had the flu again, and he's out for 2 weeks. There is something suspicious here. He saw that we had a game against Ilves and he panicked. Maybe he just doesn't have... He's not cut out for it. He's not cut out for it. That's disgraceful. His energy says part of me wishes I could unsub, then resub just to hear that again. I mean, I need to find like some kind of like special extra sub or something like a redeem, a subscribers only redeem so you can play it whenever you want. Quadmo's offering to recreate it. Kumar does say you could give someone a sub. I mean, you could. I don't want to bully people into spending money though. I will do that far more surreptitiously. I don't know if you've noticed the weird flickering with the subliminal messages underneath. Right, so again, that's worked out quite nicely from an injury perspective, in so much as we've got exactly 9 substitutes available to us. McKerrick, Dahlstrom as the double. It is frustrating though with Diane because Dahlstrom hasn't been great in the pivot. Neither has Akarike or Kariki. So we'll bring in Barber. Everything else stays pretty much as it is. Basirovic keeps his starting spot. Stavitsky does. Fortuna is on the bench. Byron Giro plays that role. We can move up to a 2-striker system in a moment. Now we have a ad break coming up in a couple of moments. So we'll come back and we'll play the game after the ad break. What I'll do is I'll bring it forwards and push it forward. So Adam reckons that Diane's been on the sherbet, quite possibly. Holly Fab reckons that wants some vacation time. Johnny Trotter again. The applause for the pun. He's feeling Ilves. Boom. Right. So here we go. As long as it's the Fight Club version of the subliminal messages. You don't talk about Fight Club, indeed, Holly Fab. Right, I'm going to bring those forwards just literally 1 minute. And I will see you guys in about 3 to 4. we're back, and we have a redeemed minigame by Lookmano Pants, and he said, take your time, guys, let him have a chance to get some points, because it's definitely going to be about German football. And I'm going to unfortunately break his heart a little bit by saying, sadly, it's not going to be about German football. We will reveal who the game is, but let me explain the rules a little first. So this is Missing 11. This is going to be a game from some point in football's past, and your job is to name the players in the starting 11. You can type them in chat, and if you get them correct, it will reveal the answers. So I'll be revealing what the game is shortly, and it is a case of fastest fingers first. You get 1 point for every player you get correctly, up to a maximum of 5 points. So if you give 6 correct answers, you'll still only get 5 points. However, there is a bonus point available if you can work out what is significant about the game. So technically, you could actually get 6 points. Now, you can throw in guesses as much as you like right now, but if you actually end up guessing correctly before the game is revealed, I then undo the magic on the back end. So unfortunately, guesses now don't necessarily help you. Now, the job here is you can type in the names, uppercase, lowercase, mixed case, if they have accents in the name, so like maybe a grave E or one of those squiggly C's. You can use those accents and it's absolutely fine. You can type it without the accents as well, it's still going to pick them up. Now, hopefully, I did think about what the games were, and this is one that I think potentially Lookmano Pants has just as much of a chance as anyone else on. So I think this might be the most equitable game choice possible. That's as far as I'm considering in terms of being kind. So let's head on over and reveal the game. The game today is Croatia versus France in a friendly in 2006. It's not France though. Croatia versus Argentina. I made a mistake there. It's Croatia versus Argentina. But we do have some guesses coming in early. For Bale, which seems to be a surprising guess there. We have a guess come in for Cerner, that's correct. Was there a Kovac? There wasn't a Kovac. There was a Kovac. There was a Kovac. Good. There wasn't a Zidane. There was a Perso. There was an Olic. No, there wasn't an Olic. There was a Modric. We've got Kovac again. We've got a Kranjčar. We've got a... so Livakovic has been guessed. It's not Livakovic in goal, unfortunately. It was Klasnic up front, though. Or was it Strinic at left back? A bit too early for Strinic, I'm afraid. We've got Simic. We've got Tudor. Johnny Trotter has gone for Chichich. Ladislav Almasifan appears to be the person to get the game significant correct. It was indeed Modric's Croatia debut. Tokic is an interesting guess. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the Tokic. Somebody has managed though to pick up Babic. Someone has picked up that it was Pletikosa in goal. Well done, guys. Well done indeed. So that was the lineup. Pletikosa, Tudor, Simic and Thomas in defence. Cerner and Babic at wing back. Modric in a deeper role than normally you associate Modric with playing further ahead, but he paired up with Kovac. Kranjčar then was behind the strike force of Klasnic and Perso. So there we go. There we go. Fabulous, fabulous work. Right, let's head on back in and go into the semi-final against Ilves. So Crodmo says, now we're in a new year. When are you going to start planning Musterfest 2025? You know, the meet and greet. All of us get together in the name of Musterman to discuss 20th century European politics, religion, and whether pineapple on pizza is a thing. Yes. Anyway, we're playing a game. Yeah, I don't think a Musterfest is going to be on the cards just quite yet. Let's be realistic. I do not have the outreach to set something out quite on that scale. Now, you know, whether we could perhaps agreed to do a meet. We could go to something at some point. Maybe that's something we can think about later down the line. But yeah, I don't think that's on the cards right now. Right, we're going to tell them that we expect to win against Ilves. We are at home today. So Lukmar went for French players. I did say Croatia. I did say Croatia. Oh well. Right, Kokuk Smelsh read that as must defeat and was appalled. Crudmo out. That would be horrendous. So Croatia won that game as well, didn't they? I believe so. Matt says definitely this is a cult. Must defeat cult would be horrendous. Oh wait, that would mean Musterman would have to leave his house. Indeed. I've already left the house once this year for New Year's, and that counts as this year because I was still out of the house after midnight. So that's my social events all done. And take a bus, followed by a train, then another bus. Don't. That is my weekly commute. That's why I hate commuting. Having to get both a bus and a train. Disgraceful. Right, so I think Crudmo needs to step up and have a Crudfest. Well, I don't want to know what a Crudfest involves. Yeah. We will all turn up for Mariehamn's season opener. That'd be quite fun. Could you imagine a whole bunch of non-Finnish people descending upon the quaint and lovely Holland Isles to turn up to a random football match? They'd be very, very confused. It'd be amazing. Do we worship Musterman's beard and pray to his beanie hat? You should definitely pray to the beanie. It's Kumecho! In less than 2 minutes in, Billy Kumecho, what a strike. Like, it took a deflection. You deserve to somersault. Look at that somersault. Beautiful. Right, Stavitsky with the cross. Headed clear. Enquist gets there. Kumecho comes out of the box, picks it up, and just goes hell for leather. Get in. Right, so Crudfest is on. Crudfest 2025 will happen. It might not be till 2026 until there's a Musterfest. Right, Bauer out to Enquist. Come on, let's really put them to a sword. Bauer! Oh, that was a cracking save from Vitala. Right, we're going, and it looks like we're going to Holland as well. Perfect. So Lou, I found a Scottish DM who has very good data for what I'm looking for. My only concern is that he's playing in Scottish League 1. I wonder if that might be skewing the output. Where are you currently, Lou? So yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect that a player performing very well, a few divisions below your standard, should be able to play quite well at a step higher. But if it's a very, very significant leap up, they're probably going to struggle a little. Sidecar's up for turning up to a random season opener. Billy K is not my lover. He's just a lad who scores for fun. It is my son. Dahlstrom plays it forward to Stavitsky. Here's the counter-attack. No, it's not. He's going back. He's playing it safe. Now Basirovic. Enquist just stands and watches. Enquist is just like, yeah, you do what you want. Basirovic creates space, sends a cross into the far post. Stavitsky with a header, and that's claimed. Right, Johnny Trotter says he presumes that he'd be cheap if he's in Scottish League 1, so might be worth taking a chance. So you're managing Spartans in the Scottish Premier League, so 2 divisions difference. 2 divisions might be a bit of a jump, but yeah, like Johnny says, that's not necessarily so much of a jump. I think this... Oh, good. I think that was a clearance off the line rather than the keeper saving. Here's the cross coming in. It is. Blocked by Bayern Gero. Beautiful stuff. Pardon me. Yes, I think there might have been very little harm to taking the risk on that. But you might want to have a secondary plan in place just in case. Night of Knee says we should have shrines to Hasutness and pineapple for pizza during the fest. I'm a fan of both of those things. Can we get extra food for the Crudmo Fest? We can indeed, as Kortelainen equalises. Right, let's just fire up. So we've had some good chances in the opening stages. Ilves have kind of turned it on in the last 10 minutes or so. Kortelainen, a nice ball through, and that is, I think that took a slight nick on its way through, which lifted it above Snore. Crudfest sounds like a fungal infection. It does. It does indeed. Right, so Jesse asks, how do I mostly scout? So Jesse, I hire my scouts to organise their scouting setup. They go out and find, and then I use statistics to drill down further into it. And there are plenty of videos over on my YouTube channel if you'd like to see a little bit more about that. And there should be links coming up now as Savalainen makes it 2-1 from the penalty spot. Order is restored. Order is restored. The career says apparently teams sign less than 10% of players that are 2 division down, half from players 1 division down. That's good to know. Tiki Press says, the team with my favourite logo. The joy of Finland is we're going to play the same teams over and over again. So we're going to see as much of Ilves as we like. I'm happy with that. We do have 2 players on a booking though, and they're both 3 players on a booking. 2 central defenders are definitely coming off. That means I'm quite comfortable with both Queenston and Mana as starters. So that's okay. I think Lundberg comes out as well, which means Sutari is on. 3 substitutions at half time when we're leading. That's a bold thing. So Cockusmouth says, I love myself a filter for players below 21 with at least 50 senior appearances in the top 10 to 15 leagues. Interesting. Matt mostly scouts from the bushes. A fine answer. Right, Dahlstrom on the ball now. Let's get a third. Let's create some space in between us. Or let's play it back to the keeper. Here we go. Dahlstrom. First time pass to Savalainen. Stavitsky's just standing still rather than making the run down the wing. He's just going to carry on standing still there. Mane. Can he find a pass? He can. It's to Dahlstrom. He goes back to Queaton into Byron Giro. Byron Giro back to Savalainen. Stavitsky comes back to get it. Plays a lovely ball through. Byron Giro makes it 3-1. What a ball from Stavitsky. It's not the Stavitskys. It's not the Stavitskys. So Stavitsky, beautiful ball outside of the boot to play Byron Giro through. That's what we brought him in to do, to make those runs and to score those goals. That's an encouraging moment. Let's now keep an eye on the momentum, see if that starts to shift as Ilves look to chase the game. They've made some changes and that's what I was expecting. Let's see this highlight first and then we might look to make some changes. Maybe just drop the tempo a bit. Dahlstrom into Byron Giro. Finds Stavitsky out in space. Stavitsky, can he send the ball in? He refuses the opportunities crossed. But Byron Giro here, Basirovic's shot is blocked. That's a corner. That is a corner. Basirovic. Oh, no. I didn't mean to do that. Whatever I've just done. There we go. Basirovic will be replaced by Fortuna. Dahlstrom again, not necessarily playing particularly well. He's going to come off. Going to drop that tempo. Kerakay's not going to be asked to play those direct passes. So we should be a little bit more secure, maybe a little bit more patient now in build up. So Cockusmouth says that it's certainly effective after regens generate, but you absolutely can find players at the start. So he was asked whether that can work in the first 5 years or so. Fidson asks, do I use a spreadsheet? I use spreadsheets when I have to use spreadsheets. So again, if you pop to those, you'll see a video where I'm using it to adjust for possession. Or there are things like the YouTube series where I need to, oh my word, Byron Giro. Out of nowhere. Now that was a stupid shot. That was a stupid shot. But who cares? Kerakay with a header to Byron Giro, gets it out of his feet. 1 touch, 2 touch. There you go. There you go. The making of a cult hero already. Right, we should feel good going into the last few moments. Bawa is tired as well now. So we're going to bring on... We can't. We're just going to have to save him there. I don't really want to bring on a right back for him. Don't really want to bring off Byron Giro either. So on comes Rockman. That'll be the last change we make. So I only ever use spreadsheets when I need to. Otherwise, I try and maintain it within the game. I prefer not having to tab out and do things external if I can avoid it. Shot blocked by Queetonen. Back out to Crooks. Crooks sends it in again. It's a good save from Arifi by Snore. Adam says, sorry for being quiet this evening. The health kick has started today and you're already hating it. No need to apologise for being quiet. I completely understand. So, last thing to take off today is water intake. But I can't get my head around feeling good after exercise. I can't stand it. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. I mean, but also, it started today. So today, the days that follow are going to be like the most painful of them. But once you get back into that routine, it's all going to be good. So the boys started playing fine art football in your league. We're getting there. We're getting there. There is a print function in FM, so that's a response to Sidecar. Print it off the game. Musterman has a guide, I think. Yes, so there is. You're struggling to download the data from my game to a sheet. Do you know how to do it? There is literally a video called How to Export information from Football Manager. You basically you need to make sure you select the players. You need to make sure that if there's a list, you scroll all the way down, and then you need to make sure you print. You can do that through preferences or by pressing Ctrl and P. You print it to a web page, and then you save that as an HTML. You open that HTML, which opens in your browser, and then you'd copy and paste that across. And Matt says, wait, isn't FM a spreadsheet? It is. Right, and there's a goal that we've scored a fifth as well, whilst we were talking there. Sutari, our super sub, gets his fourth of the competition already. I think FM can export data to a CSV, if I'm correct. I can't remember the options. We'll check in a moment. But yes, you do have other options. But generally, HTML seems to be the most stable, I think. FM Jellicoe. Welcome in, FM Jellicoe. How are you doing, sir? Lovely to see you here. Now, if you haven't been to FM Jellicoe's website, you most definitely should. He did a couple of guest spots on View from the Touchline as well this year. But a wonderful blog. And there's an FM Stag here as well. Hello, Stag. You should probably head to his website too. You don't need to do the last bit. Open Excel after saving the HTML, then just file and open the HTML file in Excel. Fair point.
You tell me, how do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Bless you for the Prime subscription, Stag. Like as I've been saying, you only get one of them a month. So to spend it here, I really appreciate that. So yeah, you just to cover what Hollyfab says, you don't get an option to CSV, but you can send it to a printer, and depending on your printer setup, you might get different options there. You can send it to a text file. So that's just by pressing Ctrl P. FM Deco had also already answered that question by saying you can't export to CSV. I bet you've asked for years. We've been talking about you earlier on, Stag. We were talking about your stats, and I think Lou, I don't know if Lou is still about, but we were talking specifically about how to benchmark and use those. And ideally, if you're looking at a player, try and focus in on what those options are for that player, that position. Don't get distracted by the noise. So there we go. That's not bad. We're into the final. Who do we get in the final, though? Do we not find out now? Looks like that game is still to be played. And it's going to be 2 weeks away. So we're going to end up with another friendly match in between. Actually, no, we're not going to end up with another friendly match in between. We're going to use our reserves for that. If I can click on the right button. So we'll pop a reserve friendly here. We'll invite any one of them. That's fine. And we'll just send our players down to that so they can get some fitness. We're going to play HJK in the final. So we'll already play HJK twice before the league's even started. Crazy. Right, the spreadsheet discussion has brought out all the data lurkers, indeed. So let's see, going forward there. Hollyfab says, my bad, mostly use text files. Not your bad at all. Not your bad at all. Look at this. Look at the Kvares getting all giddy. All giddy. There we go. That's what you like to see. But yeah, we have the bloggers in. Lovely. And during all that, Dynamo FM was in saying hello. Hello, Dynamo. How are you doing, sire? So Sidecar says he's just come out the sauna, struggling to get into a rhythm with training. Need a reason to train and can't do it consistency simply for vanity. And that's the thing is, like, I'm not the one to give advice on the gym. Let's face it. I'm a porky chap. But once you get back into the swing of it and you get that routine, it does get a lot easier, doesn't it? So I just actively avoid it. I say I actively avoid it. I'm doing my daily walks. I'm doing my my lovely little rowing machine as well. But that's about as far as we go. So FM Stag says, if you already have an Excel you've built with formulas, then you're spot on. Just mean if you're starting to work with the data from scratch, you can do file and open. Indeed. Tiki Press says, rumours saying FM25 will not have chalkboard anymore. Any thoughts? So, they said quite a long time ago that the chalkboard will be removed. Now, let's talk about what the chalkboard is. The chalkboard is this here, in reports analysis. It's also the term used for the one that you see in the game as well. So if we pop into the Liigacup semi-final here, this, from a skinning perspective at least, is referred to as the chalkboard. This is called the chalkboard pitch. These are chalkboard stats. They've got various names. What they said in the blog a while back was that the chalkboard in the player profiles would be removed. So this one specifically, because you can get that information in the data hub, you can get it through the matches. Nobody used this screen. So I don't know if there's any more news on that side of things. But I don't think it's going to be a major loss because that information is going to be available. Right, chaps, Crobmo's off to play football in the cold. I'll see you all on Friday. I will see you on Friday. We'll probably be live streaming Chucky Egg. We could do. How about, we were talking about other possible games we could play. Maybe we just go full on retro. And we've talked about Civilization. I'm 100% up for a bit of original Civ 1. That is definitely my jam. The values are increasing on Edland, but I'm still not really willing to entertain it at this moment. So the Crest says you've made a way to adjust stats based on level of competition. Interesting. Snore is out for a little bit, but that's fine. We've got over a week until the actual game. We've got players on international duty. I think they're all going to be youngsters, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. They've automatically sent them the players who are unfit, so that's perfect. Can be quite happy with that. Oh, there's loads that need game time. No, I'm not happy with that. Right. Let's... actually, instead of undoing it, let's unpick this way. Let's see what the options are now. There we go. That makes more sense. We'll give Queetonen 45. Holmberg can play the whole game. Mana can play 60. Kerake can play 45. Centauri is absolutely fine for that game. Johnny Trotter Retro Championship Manager 0102 for the win. I'm surprised at how many people are big fans of 0102. I mean, definitely on board with that. Definitely on board with that. I've got 0304 installed on this PC that's up and running, but I've got 0102 on the laptop. Possibly we can work that out. Definitely keen for that. So Sidecar says, I have to thank you for lots of your information on understanding it. I do have a spreadsheet already which tries to create a player finder which takes into consideration which league they play into too. It then provides a ranking. Seems to work well. Marvellous. Snore's asleep, says Matt. Snore is asleep. Tiki Press says, so the views column from player search regarding chalkboard will not be removed. Now, I don't think so, but we're not going to, what's the best way of putting this? We don't know. And speculate, look, they say comparison is the thief of joy. Speculation is the thief of joy as well. because you start to believe, you read things and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, so you either start to create scenarios in your head and build up expectations based on those scenarios, or you fatalize things. We will find out potentially in 3-4 weeks. I think they said that the reveal. Welcome in, Rowan and Party. How are you guys? Lovely to see you. I'm just talking about FM25. So about what we may or may not be able to access in terms of statistical data. So you've come in at a particularly nerdy moment. I hope you're on board for that. How was the stream, Rowan? How are things going? How is Champions League glory? Have you won the Champions League yet? The knees off tackles. Welcome in, Ease Off Tackles. How are you doing, sire? Long time no see. So yeah, with the views, we don't necessarily know. We're going to find out potentially in around 4 weeks' time, when the gameplay reveal starts, and then we can panic that we won't be able to find things. So there we go. The Crez says, could we play Microsoft Excel? People even game it at their jobs, I've heard. There are people who've done like various. There used to be a skin, I'm led to believe, that made FM look like Excel so you could play it at work, which would be quite fun. I think Prosper was in 98, 99. We could you imagine, all the Peter Prosper, we could do a save that is just all the classics, all the players you remember from yesteryear. A little bit of a Natalie Todorov. A personal favourite of mine that rarely gets mentioned was Johan Absalonson, an attacking midfielder forward left at Brondby. Absolutely incredible. Martin Matumba. It would be a very, very unproductive stream, because all we'd be doing is naming players like I'm doing now. Still not interested in selling our goalkeeper. Our third choice youth goalkeeper. And no one's interested in buying our midfielder. That's fine. So Synergy says, the fact you can still get it for free now is all good. Although thanks to the legends at the 0102 forums, you can play with today's players, or even go back to 1985 and eras in between. Amazing stuff. Now, by the way, I do apologise, Curacao. I missed you coming in earlier. Thank you very much for the follow. I hope you're doing well, my dude. Lovely to see you here. So FM crashed twice in one day. Oh dear. So you played Malmo at home, Porto away, Milan at home. You won 1-0, 2-0 and 2-1. Incredible, Rowan. Incredible stuff. So how many more points do you need to get to the next round? How's that be incredible? Tell says back then in the 98-91 positions were represented by shirt numbers, but that means I can't have a striker with number 2. How can I upset Adams? That's half the reason I do these streams. Rich says, I do think whatever happens, there'll be more data, not less in the future, just presented in a more accessible format. I believe so. I'd find it very surprising. Okay, we've established before there are some pockets of data that aren't particularly reliable, and there are some conflicts between, you've got stats general and you've got stats chalkboard, and the way they've all been put together can be a little bit confusing. So I have a feeling you might see some stats become unavailable just as they tidy things up. But I would expect that they're looking to expand on that. So while we're talking nerdy, says Ladislav, our massive fan, can you explain why Opta isn't great in FM? You've explained it hundreds of times, but I keep forgetting. So I can't actually remember the correct way round for this. But do we have the data hub available at this point? It's the thing we do, so we can go ask for a zone map. Defensive actions. So offensive passes per defensive action measures how many times the opposition pass the ball before you attempt a defensive action. Now, where it gets measured differs from provider to provider. Some will measure actions only in these first 4 zones. Sorry, this way round. These first 4 zones. Some might measure them from here. Some might measure from here to here. Some might measure all of it. And what is considered a defensive action changes from provider to provider as well. And part of that's the way that you'll find with a lot of data aggregators. They all have their own interpretation of how data can be made useful, and so they'll measure things slightly differently. There's also a slight pressure on them all to do something slightly different to distinguish themselves, which can be really, really annoying. Subsequently, how Opta is recorded by various, and some use Opta, some use just PPDA, some have entirely different terms just to make things even more confusing. It's not 100% clear what FM records. It looks like they exclude actions in the first two zones, the opposition's first two zones, which means that you can't actually measure the effectiveness of your press particularly well. It doesn't tell us what it considers to be a defensive action. So you're dealing with a lot of unknowns. So that's where my issue is with Opta. Right, we're almost here to the final. So there were some other questions in there. I do apologise. So ACAB was saying, was who better than Todorov? You had a T-shirt made with the face of my favourite legend on it, Herman Gaviria. Ooh, now that was a good player. Was he better than Todorov? Todorov in 03-04 was incredible. Like, there is no doubt about that. FM Stag then brings up Ori Frere Oskarsson. I mean, isn't it so... That shows how old we've got. But now there's the... Is it the nephew? Is Ori Stein Oskarsson the nephew, I think? Is now a hot prospect in real life. Crazy. Right, we're allowed to do the shirt numbers now. So let's sort out all these players that we gave mega high numbers to. Those are our new signings. And let's make sure we're giving them proper numbers. Slaymo obviously is out on loan. So Fortuna deserves an upgrade. Fortuna, big season. He gets the number 10. I feel like 17 is Enquist's numbers now, so Mane can get the number 3. Lundberg is 9. Stavitsky has 7. He deserves 7. Diane with 8. Dahlstrom with 6. I'm quite happy with the numbers those guys have. So Bauer can take 18. No, he can't. Basirovic takes 18. Bauer gets a midfielder's number. He gets 20. Yakub gets 22. Santari. I like the idea of Santari having a crazy number. He's going to get... Born in 2003. So I can't give him a number in the 90s. He's 2003 and he's 23. He's 26, so he's going to be born in 2000. Was he born in 99? No, he's born in 2000. I can't give any of them numbers based on birth years. I'm giving Santari number 93. Biringau is going to get 31. Definitely pronounced his name wrong there. Right, mentions out there for Tonton Zolo Makoko. What a classic. Mashio at Sissio Roma. That's 07. That's a far too modern reference, Stag. Both Zlatan Sands are at Madrid. Are they really? Crazy. Musterman, you're begging me to do the right thing. What is your statement on the right thing? Is it changing Rockman from number 2? It's a bit too late now. Rockman is our 2. Rockman is our rock. The higher the flair, the higher the number. Absolutely. It's sad that Sigalko died indeed. Another quality player in FM. Yes, it was, and you're sad. I'm sorry to make you sad. I'm sorry. Ladislav says, I've noticed that all the teams in my FM save has Opta between 4 and 5. I always look at Chelsea's Opta after the game, and it's usually between 7 and 12. Exactly. But yeah, again, it comes down to where you're getting that measurement from as well, which is frustrating. So we're a little bit low on numbers because Bayern is now away on international duty. Basirovic is injured. Reitinen is only just back. So there's the okay ones. Fortuna comes in. That's all right. Rockman comes in for Byron Giro. But we are looking at having to put probably some reserves on the bench. Karkinen is meant to be on the way out. Basirovic, they are actually injured rather than just on fitness test. So our reserve players, the obvious choice is going to be Lofgren, who's already played in the first team, and Snab, the player we signed on a free transfer. Does that give us striking options? It does indeed. Here we go, into the final. Here's a chance for silverware at the beginning of the season. We won this 2 years ago. Since then, we didn't give Snab a number. What number can Snab have? What's a left winger's number? A crazy left winger's number. I'm feeling 45 for Snab. Oh, somebody said 47. 47 is good. I'm sorry, he's off tackles. I'm sorry, Matt. 69 is a obvious one there. Sidecar went for 69 as well. Right, as I'm watching you, I'm going to indulge into my Bannerlord campaign. Sidecar is taking the Bannerlord dive for the evening. Right, we're going for pumping the fists, and we're going to say we're expecting a big performance. There's no sugarcoating it. No, I have faith. This is what we are now. We are a team that wins things, and I expect it. A 47 is reserved if you have a player with the initials AK. That's fair. That is fair. 47 is nice because 4 plus 7 equals 11. Yep, that's true. That is true. He's taken it because 11 is taken already. I do like that as a approach with. That's why I like 18 as a backup striker number often, because 1 plus 8 being 9. So Constantino says over on YouTube, the Ajax mockumentary you did. Wait, what? I wasn't even paying attention. Right, this is the final. I'm sorry, I'm not reading chat. This is the final. What just happened there? We're 1-0 up. It was Lundberg, so I've got to do this.
He's the man in the box. Harvey Lundberg.
That will do nicely. A horrific error. Lingman's pass intercepted by Lundberg, but HJK come forwards. Mentu with the shot. I think that's his weaker left foot, just over. We've not had the momentum in these early exchanges. It does seem to be going just narrowly in HJK's favour. But the shot-wise, not much being created now. Here's Benasan. He loses out on the right wing. Bauer plays it forward to Fortuna. There's not much space for Fortuna to work. Good to play inside there. But Bauer keeps on looking outside. Here's Enquist. He's got to go back, surely. He will do. Have we considered the other side of the pitch, lads? The other side of the pitch looks nice and open, doesn't it? Well done! You found Stavitsky. He goes back to Savalainen. Plays it into Dahlstrom. Reitinen. Back into Dahlstrom. Here's Lundberg. He's dropped deep. Can he find Enquist out wide? Enquist decides not to run into the space, but turn back. Good on you there, Enquist. Dahlstrom into Fortuna. Fortuna with the shot. There we go. Boris Fortuna. Here's the worst song you've ever heard.
Go, 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 go. Fortuna.
Fortuna makes it 2-0. Restored to the starting lineup in Basirovic's absence. Beautiful, beautiful curling effort. I feel like we've been quite fortunate to be 2-0 up here, but let's see how HJK respond. Maybe that forces them to push forwards and we'll create a little bit more space on the counter going forwards ourselves. Right, Dahlstrom back to Reitinen. Back again. Just going to keep on passing the ball between them. Now Savalainen's free. Can he play the pass? Stavitsky stops his run. The pass was a bit late. Here he is, Stavitsky now. Stavitsky with a cross. Oh, it's offside. It's offside. No, it's a goal kick. That was a miss. It wasn't offside. Why did he stop that? Well, it's already moved on to another highlight. What was that? What was that? So, Kvez says, did the Lundberg situation develop, or are we destined to miss the man? So, Kvez, if the situation didn't develop, he'd be gone. His contract was due to expire in 2026. He changed his mind. He's now signed for 3 more years without a release clause as well. Lundberg is here to stay. You create your own fortuna. We do. He does create his own fortune. Tales of the Tapes couldn't tell that it was Barracuda, which is fair. I mean, it makes sense. Kind of bad. But it still made it past my quality control, which tells you just how bad things have to be when they don't make the grade. Alright, Fortuna tries to find Lundberg. Cut out. Here's Band-Aid. Back to Pasta. Look at space out wide for Pallas. The ball was slow. We've managed to regather into our shape. Mento into Kaiser. Tries to play it down the wing to Lingman. Lingman into cross Perkin. That's an easy header, and it's 2-1. 2-1. That is a very, very passive defending there. So Mento into Kaiser. The pass here was kind of okay. Enquist wasn't able to get there, but no one follows Perkan. It's an easy header. Snore doesn't decide that he wants to claim it. Snore was feeling lazy. That miss, it doesn't seem to have counted as a shot either, but it said it went out for a goal kick rather than he was offside. So I have no idea what happened there. So from what we can see here, we've had a lot of the ball, but we're not really progressing into the opposition half. So we're probably seeing it quite deep. Thank you for the hydrate, Matt. I'm quite happy with the spacing, apart from Rockman is pretty much on top of Dahlstrom, but the spacing on all the rest here, we've got the combinations on the left, combinations on the right. That's kind of okay. Now with HJK, everything seems to be going into Peter Kaiser, so I think that's what we're going to look to perhaps target on. Now Kaiser there, as we see, is on the right. I think we're going to look to press him because he's on the right. That's going to be our man on the left. We're going to stop Bauer from dropping into the midfield there. He's still going to be defensive. There should still be space. Let's do that. We're going to change this way. We're going to push the player up higher. Bauer's going to be an anchor. Lundberg does great defensive work, so he's going to be the target forward with Rockman, or the player that would be Rockman as the poacher. That player is in fact going to be our super sub Sutari. That's how we're going to head into the second half. I'm not going to say anything to them. We can see this through. We can definitely see this through. So, is that a can of red wine? No, it's just Coca-Cola. Definitely no drinking on stream. I can't play FM whilst drunk. My decision making is bad enough. When I'm sober. Lingman with the corner, aiming for Pasta. Whiten gets there, Dahlstrom clears the ball away. Here's Cos. Thank God the highlight ended then, because I can never say his name. Kvez says, hard to say I'm not invested in the dude. You gotta love him. Here's Dahlstrom shot, unfortunately, high and over. Holifab reckons that Pepsi is greater than Coca-Cola. A bold take indeed. Right, Sutari touches heavy, but Bauer gets it. Lundberg takes aim with his weaker foot from 25 yards. Does he not know? He's the man in the box. Not the man outside the box. He's the man in the box. Right. The only thing that we can say is good is that, HJK haven't had a chance in this second half. Cometio is now booked. They are looking to make changes. Okay, we've had some pretty underwhelming chances ourselves. Now that's why we've got Mana. I have no problems bringing off as a substitute. Kerake in. Fill that role there. And Fortuna is tired. Fortuna is tiring. Does that mean a little bit of redemption possibly for Karkinen? No one wants to buy Karkinen, so there we go. Right, no Coke slander, says Matt. I'm on board with your opinion there. Zenergy says tea is better than Coke or Pepsi. I also agree with that, to be honest. Holly says, as a diabetic, I prefer Pepsi Max over Coke Zero. Fair enough. I mean, I find, to be honest, they're kind of interchangeable for me. I will buy whichever one is cheapest at the supermarket at that time. So it's either Coke Zero or Pepsi Max. Right, here comes Mento. Loads of space. Here comes a cross to... What was that? Kuasavi Benasan, just awful cross. But maybe this is going to be a defensive error and it's going to be inspired. Or is this a chance for us to build up? Dahlstrom into Lundberg. Lundberg back to Kereke. Kirkinen. Kuasavi Benasan went for it. He didn't get there. Now here's Enquist to Kereke. Across to Dahlstrom. Dahlstrom has some space. Dahlstrom shoots. Pushed behind by Aurelio Suarez. We are now 13 minutes away. A third goal would be very nice. A third goal would just give us a little bit of comfort. Corner at the far post. Reitinen gets there. Unfortunately, his header is over. Immediately, a highlight from the goal kick. Kanalopoulos wins the header. Kanalopoulos is like 5'9", isn't he? That's disgraceful. You should be ashamed of yourself, Lundberg. Beautiful work from Kuasavi Benasan. Finds Pandolfi, crosses it in. Hostika's header. It's got to be gathered. You can't be conceding that. It was tame. It was safe. Right, Helm. Kanalopoulos. All the way back. Suarez into Vaha. All over the top. I was worried that Snore was going to just leave him through. It's going to just let it go. Adam is Pepsi over Coke too. Means it's Adam in from Holifab. Hostika on the turn. Beats his man. Savalainen lets him go. Here's Kaiser on the edge of the box. Just wide. Just wide. Right, Diane. Back in there. Snab is going to come on for Lundberg. We are going back. This is the way we're going to have. So Snab, he's left-footed. Sutari then on that side there. And we don't want to pass into space. We want to drop that tempo. We want to push up that time wasting into the last 10 minutes or so. Even in beverage acquisitions, he moneyballs. Indeed. DM Basis had to go for a bit, but now back. Are we winning all of the games? We are 10 minutes away from rising? From lifting. Oh, I'm not going to say anything. We're not 10 minutes away from anything. Vaha to Yiltova. Yiltova shoots from distance. Snore gets down. I don't know why he pushed that behind. That was an easy gather. It's getting nervy. Across the far post, Kanalopoulos can't get there. Sutari heads it clear, out for a throw-in. They have been better in these last few moments. Another highlight. Here's the cross. Pandolfi at the far post, but Mana gets there. Focus, boys. Focus. Enquist is tired. Benasan with the corner. Into the far post, headed clear by Sutari. Stavitsky's going to get there first, surely. Can Stavitsky take the pressure off? He can't. He loses out. It's another throw-in. This time in their half. Kereke on the ball. Back to Mana. Mana across to Enquist. Enquist could pass it down the line. He does indeed. There's Karkinen. Inside Karkinen. So Snap, that's a penalty, ref. Penalty. I mean, it wasn't a penalty, but it's a penalty. Diane charging forwards. Finds Snab. Snab with the cheeky lob. What a moment. Sell him, Snab. We're going to win the fucking cup, DM Bassist. We're going to win the fucking cup. Kereke into Diane. He saw the space. He ran for it. Picked out the pass. Snab with just completely left Suarez unexpected. Suarez went down expecting him to do something else and he just poked it. RJ is back just in time. You are, RJ. You are. Satari, can he pile on the misery? Satari's shot is saved. There's no time left now, surely. We're into the 98th minute. There's only 5 minutes of injury time. We've won the Liigacup. We get a trophy celebration for this. We didn't get a trophy celebration for winning the league. We get a trophy celebration for the rusty dish. The rusty dish is ours. Good evening, Adam. Welcome in, my dude. How are you doing? What wonderful timing. You're there. Snab, that's a new name. He's a free transfer we signed for the reserve squad. Here we go. Do you know what that comes with? That comes with this. what we do here at Mariehamn, we win. We marry a he, we marry a ho, we marry a who, we marry a ham. We did not deserve to win 3-1, but dear Lord, I'm not complaining. Dear Lord, I am not complaining. What a good way to start the season. Now, to temper expectations a little, we won the League Cup 2 years ago and then finished in a disappointing 7th in the league. So, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is, though. It is a good point to mention something I didn't mention at the top of the stream, which is that during the off-season, we did sign a new contract. So we are now on £900 per week. Woo! And we get a 10% rise. We are under contract for another 2.5 years. And the reason why is because we win competitions. Just about. Some marvellous stuff. Do you know what? That's kind of exactly what we're looking for. That brings us to a very, very good point to end the evening on a high. So, let's see what's been going there. Not bad timing. Not bad, thanks, says Adam. A superb timing indeed. Absolutely. RJ died in Project Zomboid, so came back just in time to see the trophy lift. RJ wants to marry a ham too. Now that normally speaking, I'd take that as just a perfectly innocent joke. But considering you've been working on a farm the last few weeks, I'm a little bit worried. Just a little bit worried. Tales of the Tape says that Milan are up 3-2 in the derby. Interesting. How long is left? Look, Mar says like £900 a week is more than I earn in real life. I mean, £900 a week is a decent wage. Very, very decent wage. It is the 4th trophy. It's not bad at all. It's bigger fish to try now.
It's not the statistics. You tell me. How do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Muro Dakani, you absolute gentleman. Nice to catch a stream. Cup glory to boot. GG. Thank you so much for the Prime subscription. Wonderful. Really, really appreciate it. Especially with Prime as well. You only get one of those. I do really, really appreciate it. So DMB says, is the muster voice going? Sounds a little bit like it, doesn't it? So that's another reason why it might be a good a reason to potentially bring it to a close right now. So RJ says that milk cows, not ham. That's good. I don't want to try ham milk, that's for sure. Run, little pigs, run. Indeed. So FM Stat goes for expected vocal cords. We're currently running at just about 0.1. There is a small chance of vocal cords, but there's also a very, very, very good chance of no vocal cords. Cookies Mouth missed the trophy celebration. Oh, I'm sorry. We can't play it back, but you could watch the VOD. Whichever VOD it'll be because of the drama with the internet earlier on. Cool. Right, let's head on off. So first, we're going to end the stream over on YouTube, and then over on Twitch, we're going to raid out, see who is about this evening. Go and show some love to some people. So a massive thank you guys. Now over on YouTube, if you've enjoyed this, please consider hitting like the thumbs up. That would be massively helpful. Or even subscribing if you're not subscribed already. We're going to be back on Friday evening at 7 p.m. GMT. 5 p.m. GMT.